Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 83 of the Xbox Hall of Gamers podcast. This week, I am joined by Cameron.
Hey.
And Keo.
Hello, everybody.
This week, we're catching up on all the stuff that got announced over the over Key 3, E3, Summer Games Fest, whatever you want to call it, video game season, announcement, trailers, marketing spiel, trade show.
I wonder how long E3 is actually going to be used as a term, because I just saw in VGC that 2024 and 2025 are cancelled as well.
Yeah, just in general. Yeah, that's
so
actually the years aren't happening. So yeah, unfortunately, the 2023 is the last year we have.
Yeah.
So it's really unfortunate because everything that got announced is pretty much for next year, which is not happening. So I'm just like, okay, well, I guess we'll just have to. I guess we're all just going to be playing Diablo 4 until the end. But that's fine.
No.
I've heard good things. I might even end up buying a PlayStation because, I mean, how else am I going to play Final Fantasy? This week we're going to be talking about a lot of the game announcements, some of the stuff that we're interested in, and there's a little bit of news going on. I don't know if you guys have seen this FTC stuff. Oh my god, this is spicy. It's still too early to really talk about because they're just getting into it. But I think that I'll be really curious to see how that goes. I'm sure we'll have some thoughts
it's spicy,
in the coming weeks.
But I think it's spicy enough that we leave it for next week.
Yeah,
100%.
Yep.
As always, we do the show live on Twitch. You can come say hi, hang out with us in the chat. Xbox Hall of Gamers is the place to find us. Yeah, come shit post, ask questions. We appreciate our community and the support you give us. Speaking of the community, we've got a question from our question asker extraordinaire, Mr. Isaac Logic Dad himself, who says, "Hey guys, how do you feel about TA score versus gamer score? Does the TA ratio matter to you at all? Does it encourage you to get harder achievements? Thanks for the show." Thank you for the question, Isaac. Keo, let's throw it to you. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I kind of answered it in the chat because I didn't think I was going to be on the show that we were actually going to do it because we didn't do a show last week. But yeah. Oh, well, we did at the start of the week. Yeah.
We did, yeah.
So I pretty much just think that it's more of a I don't use true achievements for much more than just kind of gauging how I'm going to play a game. So the ratio stuff is kind of like you can see, what's wrong with the game based on what the TA looks like. Sure. So you can know if you can actually finish a game or not, or if anyone's actually finished it, or how hard something is. But yeah, outside of that, I really just use it. Yeah. So I'm gonna get the achievements in the games no matter what. So I don't really care what the TA looks like or the ratio or anything. So yeah. So it's pretty simple for me. I'm just going to play the games and get the achievements. And if it's got a high ratio, I'll probably be like, maybe I should actually just try and play the game. Despite like I'm even more enticed that something's wrong and I just want to abuse myself somehow by playing the game.
You heard it here first. Keo's a masochist. Good to know.
Yes. That's me.
I mean, look, if you're an achievement hunter, aren't you already signed up to be a masochist?
There's got to be something wrong with you for sure.
Unless you're a baby 100%. Hunter. Unless you're a baby hunter. But
I mean, then it's something different.
Yeah, well, with my streaming, I'm hoping to be more of a whale hunter. So
yeah, all right. Wow. Cameron, what about you? What are your thoughts?
I'll pretty much go and use it to go after high score. Like at the moment, I'm doing Diablo because I think when it first, roughly about mid last week, it was around 25k.
Which is not to be unexpected, right? Because it's a very popular game.
Very popular game, very grindy. It's dropped this week down to 14.7. But then I was looking up Diablo 3 and all that because I was, interested about going back to that kind of stuff, and that's 2.
Yeah,
and you would think it would be a bit higher. So I'm interested to see how far Diablo 4 drops. But I'll chase stuff like Halo MCC and Age of Empires, and that's the stuff that I'll try and gauge opinions on from it. But then, I mean, there's so many different factors you got to consider, Game Pass inflation and that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, it just being a new game in general. I mean, Redfall was so high because of that one collectible achievement that nobody had
Yeah.
until some guides showed up, and
Until Keo put out his guide. That's
it's doing all right. It's doing all right.
I was thinking about starting that actually. It's on my
Mm.
maybe list, but we'll see.
Yeah, well, I think it's probably going to be a little bit harder now.
Yeah, with the updates, yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I mean, I just happen to be looking at it. So for example, like I'm not leaderboard chasing anymore, right? But I'm currently sitting at 69th for the world in terms of gamer score.
Nice.
Thank you. But it's like in terms of TA, I'm sitting at 26. And like I have a 1.8 ratio, which is not very high. I mean, it's definitely above average. But like I'm definitely like I'm still very far away from having a 2.0 ratio, like what, and that's kind of where I think that's where ratio gets really respectable. I mean, I tend to agree with what you guys have said. I think that I don't like seek out games for their ratio. Like I'm not really interested in TA score. I don't put any stock in it whatsoever. I'm not really interested in gamer score either, to be honest.
TA score is very much the same as gamer score. It comes down to ratio, really.
Yeah, right. It doesn't really matter to me, right? I'm there for completion percentage is really what I'm there for. So like if the game had if the game has 10,000 gamer score or it has 1,000, I don't really care that much. And so like the ratio, I use ratio not as something to aim for, but as just a kind of a barometer to get an understanding of what I might be getting myself into. And so, like for example, like I won't really talk about it, but this week I've been playing a bit of Dark Knights with Poe and Monroe, and that's like a 1.2 ratio game. And so I looked at that and I was like, okay, this is like super simple. Like there's no surprises here. It's just I'm basically just going to play the game. I'll follow a walkthrough and won't have any problems at all. It's just going to take a little bit of time. And then you look at something that's like a 1.8 and you're like, okay, this is probably going to take like a little bit of skill and maybe a little bit more time, but probably nothing major. And then you look at something that's like a 3.0 and I'm like, okay, 3.0 is a lot.
Is it on Game Pass?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the first thing is that like if it's Game Pass and you know, like I think I use TA ratio to it basically stops me from having to do the math on how difficult the achievements might be.
Yeah.
And like Kiev said, like I try to look for the problem child. And I'm like, okay, most of this game looks reasonable. Where's the one where the completion drops off? And it's like, okay, finish the game on like do a no death run or do a speed run or some super grindy multiplayer achievement or something. And you're like, okay, that's what I'm looking for here. I'm looking for red flags basically.
I
like,
kind of wish we had more walkthroughs that were like, say, if it was a 30 achievements in a game, it kind of like just identified the 5 that were the trouble. Like, I kind of want the minor walkthrough kind of guides that give you a rough idea of, like, this is where you could potentially go wrong. Other than that, most of them are story-related or X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, I mean, like Missable is usually the one that helps the most, right? Because that's the last thing you want to have to do is to
exactly
fuck something up and have to redo it. But yeah, like so for example, like Planet of Lana, which I talked a little bit about the other week. Like I did that, and the ratio for that is still surprisingly high. I think it's I'll actually have a look at just to be sure. Now. Yeah, thanks. But that like because that's a limbo style side scrolling platformer, but it has a no death achievement in it. Yeah. And that was the one that I was like, oh, okay, I don't know. But it's also a Game Pass, so I knew that the ratio was probably going to be a little overinflated.
So it's interesting with that because obviously you got your 3.4, but then you've got what is the ratio on it? All achievements completed is 5.95.
Yeah.
Game completed without dying is 5.92.
Yeah.
Every other achievement is nothing high. Oh, sorry. There's one for all secret shrines discovered, which is 3.2.
Yeah.
Secret shrine 2.9. A lot of the other ones, like the story based, nothing over a 2.
Yeah. So like a lot of that is like ratio inflation from Game Pass, just because the sheer number of people who play these games. Now, like I have my sort of opinions on how ratio works in TA in general. I feel like the fact that it can only add to the score and not take away from it, I think is kind of maybe a bit of a detriment to it. Because it means that if something, in terms of like score, if something is a 100 point achievement versus a 10 point achievement, the TA score that you get from it is based on whatever the base value is. So, like you potentially could be getting a lot less TA score from something. Not that I care about that all that much, but it just highlights that the system's not flawless.
Yeah.
But it is definitely the thing where it's like it lets me investigate and like look at stuff and go, okay, what are the things that are going to cause me trouble here? Are they things that I would like give me pause about playing this game? Also, it's great for it's like, oh, actually, this is unobtainable, or this is like glitched, or it's discontinued, or there's some serious issue with this. It's really just like an awareness tool for me, and it's like I find it very, very helpful. But like I don't really care about the score itself. I don't really care about baby games all that much versus like super hard games. But I know if Brad is like, hey, do you want to do Vermintide? And I look it up and it has like a an 8.0 ratio and a bunch of DLC packs, that I might go, you know what, get fucked. No, no, I might go like, okay, that's like
wait, sorry. You're waiting until he says Vermintide until you say get fucked?
Well, okay, look. I mean, look. Brad is a perfectly reasonable human being. He just has. Yeah. Okay. Fair. You're out. Yeah, I get it. No, but it's that kind of thing where it's like, I'm sure there'd be a bunch of games that I would have started if I didn't have that tool at my disposal to help me make my decisions. And I know that's a controversial opinion, and that there are some people out there who say you should just play whatever. Unfortunately, I'm just not wired that way, and I have so many other games to play that like I don't feel like I'm missing out too much. And sometimes I will just grip my teeth and just fucking do it.
And looking at what I've been playing this week, there is no red. There's one big red flag, but no indication that there's a problem and there's a problem. So,
right, yeah, exactly.
Huh. I'll talk about that later.
Yeah, but hopefully that answers your question. We had a few responses kind of along the similar vein. Yeah, so like the Moonzone talked about like how it's just a good way to see like games that lots of people have played but didn't stick with. Like looking for things that are like excessive grinds, or something like Devil May Cry, where it's like people tried it but didn't really like it. He also mentions like Asura's Wrath being also like a very, very hard game, but only having a 2.5, which I agree with, but because the rest of the game is so straightforward, but the DLCs are very, very difficult. And so like the DLC discussion also kind of muddies the waters a little bit, because not everyone starts the DLC. Especially when it's like a very popular base game but doesn't have a big DLC reach. Like Asura's Wrath is a good example of that.
Like even recently this week, Callisto's Protocol.
Great example, like fantastic example of that. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that nobody's touched the DLC. Let's have a look.
Yeah,
base game, a lot of like ones, all that. You get to the new DLC nobody's touched yet because it just came out. The one before that's like 3.7 freeze, 3.4, 3.8, 4.2.
Yeah, and that's not a Game Pass game, right? But like that's full retail title. So
3.3 the TA. Interesting.
But yeah, I at this stage I just use that information and then confirm with other people who've already played it. Like there's a game I played this week that has a relatively high ratio that turns out is just all Game Pass inflation. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question, Isaac. Cameron, let's get into the news. Right. What have you found for us?
We're just gonna rip the Band-Aid off straight away. Game Pass and Series X prices are increasing.
Yeah, not great, but
not great. Expected it to happen. I expected Game Pass to happen. Series X consoles though at the same time.
Yeah, and not in all regions though, but
yeah, I guess they wanted to rip the Band-Aid off, which makes sense.
Well, I mean, have a look at the price yearly for the premium PlayStation Plus. It's like $170 or something.
Oof.
Yeah.
So for a year. So it's
it's I mean, like, obviously prices going up is never a good thing, but unfortunately, like we've seen with inflation everywhere, that's just kind of the reality that we're living with at the moment.
Everything is getting too expensive. I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Yeah, well, I mean, I rushed out and bought Final Fantasy 16 day one because it would go up $10-15 if I bought it the next day, and then when I got an email the next day and it went up. So
well, there you go.
So
As reported by The Verge, Microsoft will hike the price of the Series X console in most countries, with the exception of the US, Japan, Chile, Brazil, and Colombia. Makes sense for US and Japan.
It definitely makes sense for Brazil as well, considering how expensive it is already over there.
Oh yeah, that's a fair point. Xbox Series X will now cost £480 in the UK, an increase of £30, €550 in most European countries, 650 Canadian in Canada, and $800 in Australia, matching what the PS5 is here. So starting August 1st. So we've got like a little bit of we've got like 5 weeks warning, which is pretty good, I guess. As for Game Pass Ultimate, and Game Pass for console pricing will go up starting July 6th. Game Pass Ultimate will increase from $15, £11, and €13 per month to $17, £13, and €15 per month. I think in Australia it was going from 15 to 18.
Yeah, it was like, I think it was like 17. I think it was like a $2 increase. I was looking at it.
2 or 3? It was 3.
But Ultimate, I thought it was 2, but I might be wrong. But anyway, either way, it's not major.
Yeah, I know Argentina's going like really up, which kind of like was reflective of how Steam's pricing a lot of the stuff higher as well. Standard one, going up by $1. In most, $1 a pound and euro. Microsoft will not be upping the price of PC Game Pass subscriptions at the time. Not like another thing kind of makes sense for me. They want to get more buy-in in the PC market.
And I imagine there's probably not a huge amount of people on that service anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most people just go to Ultimate.
Just having a look, PlayStation Deluxe is like, wait, Deluxe and Premium. It's like 154 for the middle. No, Deluxe is the highest one. 154.95 or 134.95 for the middle. And I'm on the current base plan, so I couldn't tell you how much that is a year, but yeah.
Following the news that Sony had increased the price of the PlayStation 5 in specific markets, Phil Spencer did hint that price increases were coming with an interview with the Wall Street Journal.
That was a while ago too, yeah.
Yeah, a few months back now, right?
It was pre-Christmas, I remember, because we had the discussion around whether they were. I think when we talked about it, we basically said that they almost certainly were going to raise it for the holiday, but after that,
PlayStation would have been back in October last year, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So because that's why we talked about it, because we figured that was going to be happening.
Yeah. Yeah. Sucky news, especially when it comes to Game Pass Ultimate, I reckon. But I don't know how you like. He's going to be canceling your subscription. What are you going to do?
I mean, I'm stacked up for 3 years anyway, and I basically just use my rewards points for it. So that's probably what I'll keep doing for now.
Probably restack back up.
Yeah, I mean, look, if it gets like super, super expensive, then that's maybe a different discussion. But the value that I get out of Game Pass is me not having to buy video games in general. So I definitely, I mean, I absolutely rinse stuff in Game Pass. Like I definitely squeeze all the value I can out of it. So it doesn't bother me too much. But it's never good when prices go up. And it is always the thing where a business should be able to swallow those costs. To be honest, we've seen, and I don't want to get into a big Marxist rant, but we've seen a lot of things where inflation is basically being driven by corporate greed, unfortunately, as opposed to actual economic factors. Especially like in the supermarket stuff, we've seen it all over, especially New Zealand and Australia. It's really fucking bad. And I think that this is kind of a bit of that. I mean, obviously, inflation is a real thing. And the price increase stuff is not a huge surprise. We have heard that this is probably going to happen. But how much of this is actually inflation? How much is them trying to line their pockets with a little bit more money?
Yeah.
We will probably never know. But I'm always a cynic whenever it comes to price increases.
Yeah. I think it's rough too, like especially at the moment, everything across the board, whether it's housing, getting groceries, like fast food, it's just everything's going up.
Yeah.
Not a great time. Anyway, moving along to the next story. ID at Xbox Showcase is set for July, alongside the Summer Game Fest demo event.
Yeah, so this is like a partnership with IGN, right?
Yeah, which I thought was very interesting. So kicking off on July 11th, the IGN X ID at Xbox Digital Showcase will give a look at a number of projects coming from independent developers, Following that, Summer Game Demo Fest will return this year between July 11th and July 17th, so you can give some of the games to play yourself. I know TA at the moment was doing a bit of a write-up on games that you could play during Next Fest as well, and there's some really good ones in there. But yeah, the partnership between Microsoft and IGN means that ID at Xbox Digital Showcase will be exclusively available on IGN channels, although an Xbox Wire post will arrive after the event with a rundown of everything like usual. Similar to last year's event, there'll be a host of indie games to play on Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One during the ID at Xbox Summer Game Demo Fest. Have you actually ever loaded up a few demos from there and tried them out, or?
Not really. I mean, I think as a concept or as a thing to do, I think it's really, really smart. Especially with the death of physical events.
Yeah.
I think getting those demos out to people in a way that's really easy and kind of under a banner that people can understand and see and market, I think is a great idea. I just don't have time for demos, to be honest.
Yeah, have a look at what happened with once again Final Fantasy 16 this week. How they had a demo and you were able to carry your save across. And how popular that was. Demos definitely, if they hit their mark, they're good for everything. So
it's just whether the extra resources are worth it. But
yeah,
I know that I think it was the winter one last year. That's how I discovered Loot River.
And right.
Why I enjoyed it so much and shouted out once I had completed it. So they are a good way to get some discoverability to these indie games.
Yeah.
Which is good because they need more channels for that, especially on console.
Well, and if they're only going to be 1 or 2 hours long as a game, then how long's the demo going to be? So,
I mean, it depends on the game, really.
It does. What the gameplay loop is, if there's one that's continual, then you'll have a better chance of, getting the demo out. So,
All right, moving along. Microsoft is officially no longer developing games for the Xbox One.
Fucking finally.
Did you pick up on this during the showcase, or?
I didn't. I had actually forgotten that they were still making things for the Xbox One.
Yeah, wasn't looking for it.
I remember. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. I noticed that during the showcase that every single first party was basically PC, Series X and S. Sorry. And then you had your Personas, you had a Dragon, all coming out with Xbox One and all that. I was like, that's very interesting. I think 33 Immortals was the only one, was one of the indies that I think was only coming to series. But maybe wrong there. I need to double check that. Yeah, sorry, Matt.
I was going to say, I remember when the Series X first came out, and they said that they were, I think it was Matt Booty came out and said that they were going to give a full year of support to the Xbox One for first-party development before cutting it off. And now they've extended out to at least a couple of years now. So I'm not overly surprised that this has happened. I'm actually surprised that it took this long. But obviously, COVID was something that was kind of unprecedented in that area. And to be fair, the Series X didn't sell nearly as well as the PlayStation. And so it's always been that thing. And Sony's going through this as well, right? Where they have pretty much everything coming out on PS4. It's getting to that thing where it's okay, when do you cut off this giant existing user base? When is the tipping point? It's when is the benefit of not having to develop for an ancient piece of hardware from 2013? Outweigh the amount of people that the size of the audience of people who own series consoles.
Well, one of the things that came up in the FTC thing over the last day or so that we're not talking about this week, but that 2028 is the expected kind of delivery date for new hardware.
Yeah.
So
5 years from now, which makes sense.
Yeah. So it's just it's still following the same patterns of console, and basically the 1.5 to 2 years in is when it was pretty much cut off last time. And it's very much cookie cutter in terms of delivery, I think, except COVID kind of extended it out a bit.
I think the thing is that we've seen because of COVID and things like that, we've seen an extension of that. And also maybe not even so much an extension, but also like just a lack of things that already were moving over, because I think that with the Xbox One generation, obviously we saw a bunch of stuff that's like, yeah, only coming to Xbox One. Like if you think about like what the cross-gen games for that, like I can probably name most of them, and I probably played most of them. But that generation had a pretty clear delineation between the two. Whereas the series was in many ways like an upstep from the half-step consoles. Intentionally, that was very much what they were kind of going for, whereas PlayStation were going for the "we believe in generations" thing. It just turned out that generation they believed in was the PS4.
Yeah.
Well, apparently they don't believe anything they say. So
yeah.
I found it like I was just looking up a few game titles because we had what first parties did we have last year other than Pentiment?
Grounded, I think.
The official release, not the
official release of Grounded. Yeah.
1.0.
1.0.
And what was that other one? The story one.
So Grounded and Pentiment you had, which were Xbox One and Series consoles as well as Windows.
What was that? What was that story one with the weird art style that you really enjoyed? The comic book.
First party. It wasn't first party though. It was.
Well, no, but it was published by Microsoft, right? So it was exclusive.
I imagine that would be Xbox One as well. I can't remember the name of me.
Yeah,
it's actually a Telltale game.
I keep thinking Until Dawn, but it's not that.
Yeah.
As That's False. Yeah.
I had no idea what you're talking about until you said,
I was just looking up as well. Hi-Fi Rush. I didn't realize it was only Series console.
Oh, I didn't know that either. Okay, interesting.
So Hi-Fi Rush is Series console. Redfall Series console. I imagine looking at Minecraft Legends would be obviously all different platforms, but
and the key indicators for them pushing to next gen are it's the 30 frames a second.
Yeah,
you can start seeing that.
Right. Legends was Xbox One as well. I was not expecting
that actually makes a lot of sense. Mojang tend to do that. So
which is fair. But a few of the first party titles this year, obviously, like getting into the Series X. So now, I guess Hi-Fi Rush was the cutoff then.
Yeah, well, beginning of the year. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, it makes sense that they're no longer developing for Xbox One games. I can understand why third parties still would be. You'd want to maximize your reach as much as possible. But I guess with Microsoft, it makes sense because even we have the ability to cloud stream Series games on Xbox One consoles.
True. And to be fair, I haven't fired up an Xbox One in quite a while.
I did it not too... You know what I did it for not too long ago? Dead Island 2 workaround for the missing achievement.
Ah,
that's right.
Which fixed it. I'm so happy.
I've got my One X sitting here, but it's not even plugged in, to be honest. It's just sitting in the cabinet.
But I guess the question for you then, if you had a situation like I was stuck in and you had to essentially have a missable or locked achievement, redo 10 hours, or pull your Xbox One out of the cupboard, what are you going to do?
I mean, it's sitting there. I'll wire it up. I'll fucking make it happen, right? I'd have to swap out the HDMI ports, and it'll be a fucking hassle. Especially because my TV's so fucking big, I can't even get behind it anymore.
You'll wait 2 hours to let it update and...
Exactly. And I'll have to find a fucking controller that syncs with it and all that shit. Yeah. Speaking of which, I'll get to that. I'll get to my controller woes this week as well.
Oh, yeah. All right, I'll quickly go for the last bit then. So yeah, there was a lot announced at the extended showcase as well. I feel like you guys already did a really good job of covering everything Lee last week. Which if you want to listen into, I'm sure Xbox Cast have that episode up on there.
Yes, I would definitely recommend that. So if you happen to have missed it last week, Keo and myself and Lee Howard from the Xbox Cast went over and visited and watched the we talked a bit about the Ubisoft showcase and watched the Xbox showcase. Gave some opinions there, so definitely check that out. The extended stuff though, there was a lot of interesting sort of stuff that I kind of wish they had put in the full stuff.
Yep. I felt the exact same way after reading the details after. Especially the ID at Xbox. I feel like ID at Xbox kind of got shunned a lot from the main show.
It's funny actually, because when we were doing that live watch, when I was watching it, I actually started saying, "Oh, actually, it was kind of light on indies," and then suddenly it was indie, but it was definitely like backloaded into the show, which is not unusual. But I guess this is supposed to be a pretty big year for Xbox. They're trying to make a big comeback with everything they've got going on first party, so it kind of does make sense. Whereas last year was pretty light on the releases, so they had to sort of make up some time.
Yeah, I wanted to get your opinions on what you thought of the main showcase. Like, I know myself and you, Matt, have discussed it earlier this week, and I'll just say straight off the bat, look, gameplay to me is king. If you show me, like, I feel like what Aaron Greenberg put out about, like, it, being in all game footage and all that was kind of a little bit misleading. And Skillet was making comments about that as well. And I would much rather see most of the trailers that I look out for these days are like, give me the 50% of like CGI hype and all that, and then give me the gameplay. Like the Persona stuff stood out to me because like
it's all gameplay.
It's all gameplay. The UI on Atlas's, is it refract?
Yeah, I've got that in my list. Yeah,
that name, I'm just like, I keep looking. But like that looked amazing. Like I love the look of Fable, but it was just like, man, don't give me 2 seconds of gameplay. Give me like a hype, and then give me like, why am I playing this?
I get where you're coming from. I think, in my opinion, it was basically just indicative that none of this shit is coming out this year.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think that was the thing last year where it was like, hey, we're talking about everything coming out in the next 12 months. Here's a shitload of gameplay for the most part. And like I said, part of that is because they had fuck all coming out first party. And so they had to rely on indies, and indie games tend to not have the budget for CG trailers and usually just have to show some gameplay.
That shit's expensive.
Yeah, it's real fucking expensive. So the fact that they were like, I just wanted some updates to the fact that they were still doing some of the stuff. There were some things that were sort of omitted that were kind of interesting that they didn't talk about at all. But like when I saw the Fable thing, I was like, good. Like Fable was like, I'm glad that we're seeing something about it, that it hasn't just disappeared, and that they can't like it was basically just a tone piece to show a bit more about the game or kind of what their thinking is with it. Like I would have loved to have seen some gameplay, but that game's not coming out till the end of next year.
Yeah,
almost certainly, right? So like let me put it this way: we almost certainly have another E3 or Key 3 or Summer Games Fest or Xbox Showcase before that game comes out.
Yeah,
so I'm not too worried about it. Like something like Starfield that's coming out in a couple of months, that makes a lot more sense to me for them to do a deep dive on the gameplay.
Exactly. The Starfield deep dive was like really good, but I just felt like it was really. I got to a point where I'm just like.
So, mate, I'm just going to play the game. All right, you sold me. All right.
Yeah, that's exactly it. The other thing I really didn't like was, and this is going to sound really weird, but like for 5 years, 2017 to 2022, we've been shoved Game Pass down our throat, but we've been given a reason. And this year, to me, like obviously these games are coming to Game Pass, but it felt like the least amount of it as possible. And this is where I like the extended showcase, because it was like, damn, there's some really good indie games coming to Game Pass that I feel like should have been put on the main stage.
I tend to agree. I mean, again, like you said, pretty much everything they showed was coming to Game Pass, and they're like Game Pass, like they have always been, but there was no release dates, no gameplay. I don't know, Kia, what do you think? Because I mean, we watched this at the same time.
Yeah. Look, I reckon it's kind of. I mean, it was a good showcase, but like, we didn't really need to see, I guess, some of the things that they showed off. Like, what was it? Star Wars and stuff was there when they had an extended version of that at the Ubisoft.
Yeah, they
show. Did they actually show Avatar there as well, or was that just?
No, they didn't. That was just Ubisoft.
Yeah. Avatar was Ubisoft.
Yeah, and they went on for a lot longer than some of the other displays, like the short Xbox trailers over the extended kind of Star Wars and stuff like that. So like, I didn't even go and watch the Starfield one actually. I just kind of watched people talk about it because they went into depth and stuff like that. So there wasn't a terribly lot there that I was excited about, but it was good to watch, but that was about it. So like South of Midnight looked amazing, but you didn't know what kind of game it was. There was no indication at all.
No.
Like, what is it? So, you know.
Yeah, I think it was more just to kind of see it was Microsoft attempting to kind of deliver a bit more on that promise of all these studios we bought, they are working on things. Here's where they're up to.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it's like, here's where they're up to, but also none of the shit is coming out this year. Yeah. Like it's like here's where they're up to. We'll get to you next year when we have some gameplay to show for a October, November release.
Like I know last year too, they kind of got they shot themselves in the foot because of COVID and like all the delays and all that. But I really like that these are coming in the next 12 months kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
They did away with that this year, which I can understand why. But I kind of hoped that there was like these games, like, you know, like just even the big screen of like, I mean, these games are all coming in the future to Game Pass.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it still needs to kind of be spelled out to people.
A little bit, yeah.
I know.
I definitely see that.
But yeah, going through the stuff for the extended showcase, I'll just list off a few things here and just stop me if you've got any opinions you want to add. Cyberpunk 2027, Phantom Liberty.
Looks really good. Apparently they're reworking basically a lot of the existing games, so I'm going to actually wait till that comes out.
Yeah, they are saying that if you're going to play it when the expansion comes out. So
Skill Up did the mention about all that. I found it very fascinating they're not talking about.
Yeah, I think that
the systems.
I mean, I also feel like they're being very careful about their hype on this. They very much want to make it about the new content, which I think is fair. That's what people are paying for at the end of the day. And also, I think, you know, because it's going to be like a $50 expansion or some shit, right? Like, it's not going to be cheap.
But I mean, if it's something like Blood and Wine.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I mean, like, if there's one thing that CDPR do correct, it's fucking expansions.
Yeah.
So
hopefully it's just like a ton of content. High and Life DLC, which I feel like we've kind of had an inkling something was coming.
They joked about it in the game itself.
It was either going to be a new game or a DLC. So.
It was definitely they were definitely going to do DLC. So I was like, I'm all for it. I really enjoyed High on Life despite its technical issues.
I might give it a week or two just to see if the achievements unlock on launch.
Fair.
Lamplighters League coming to Game Pass in October. Looks pretty cool. Paradox published, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, really? Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Paradox.
Not really sure on the game.
Gentleman kind of XCOM game.
Yeah, I'm not really into the gameplay style, but I've never really played an XCOM, so.
I mean, yeah, if I can play it on easy and just be a fucking badass, then I'm about it. But if I have to play on permadeath, Iron Man, fucking impossible difficulty, they can get fucked.
Yeah. Obsidian shared more info on Avowed. Free to play the first Descendant. I don't really know much about it. Launching in beta.
It looks pretty. Yeah.
Pretty. Towerborn, they did like a deep dive into that. Fallout 76. Actually, I need to quickly just mention something. So I went to FanFest, yeah. I told Matt this the other day, but
this is very funny.
You gotta love like sitting there and like trailer happens, yeah, woo, and then Fallout 76. Like, okay, Sea of Thieves and Fallout 76 back to back. We had one of the lead project managers, I believe. I don't know. I'm probably gonna get corrected on that, but he was there doing like, you know, just talking to people.
Yeah.
All that. Then they revealed the Sea of Thieves and Return to Monkey Island collab. Everybody's going wild. Can't stop Fallout 76 tumbleweed.
Yeah, just crickets.
Just nothing. Like nobody at all.
I will say though that man, people got very excited. Like I got very excited when I saw that. I was like, oh, Rare and LucasArts are working on a new game. No, fuck it, Sea of Thieves. God damn. But I was like, oh, but actually Secret of Monkey Island is fucking great. So it would be the only way to get me to play that game.
I'm pretty sure he was discussing about like how the Disney meeting happened.
Right.
Like them just going like, yeah, we just walked out of the meeting just like, holy fuck. Like this is happening.
That is like it is in the same way that Pirates of the Caribbean was the perfect fit for that game.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a slam dunk for them.
Yeah, they obviously need to work every single pirate themed thing into the game.
I'm looking forward to the
Mm.
Evanstone porn parody version that they cram the next expansion that they do.
I want Muppets Treasure Island.
Oh, actually, that is the correct answer. Yes, Muppets Treasure Island would be amazing.
I was about to say Treasure Island, and it didn't even cross my mind for the Muppets version.
Yes.
I am 100% sold. I was gonna say something briefly. I think the creator of Return to Monkey Island didn't know anything about this, right?
Rob Gilbert, yeah.
Yeah, he didn't.
Has there been any update on that, or
not really? They kind of asked him about it, and he was like, "Hey, completely blindsided," which is a little iffy
rough,
considering they just made a new one.
Yeah, that's a bit.
And he's still involved, and he's also very talented, and I love his work.
Was he the one that stopped doing the blog post because people were being dicks about the?
Yes, he was. Yeah. He's also responsible for like a lot of the. I mean, I was playing one of the games that I believe he was responsible for making this week, actually. So
yeah, okay.
I'll talk a bit about that.
What else was there? Phasmophobias announced for Series X and S. Capcom gave us Capcom gave us another look at Exoprimal, which is going straight into Game Pass. I do not care about that title at all.
I mean, look, I love the concept of being like, hey, robots versus dinosaurs, hell yeah. And then Aftos was like, this is absolute trash, and I was like, okay, well.
I mean, concept, yes. I'm just like, it doesn't look good. Flight Sim getting the Dune expansion. I found it so interesting that they're going to continue supporting Flight Sim.
Well, like this is because this is a new game, right?
Yeah. So the Dune expansion is to tie in with this part 2 maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Whereas in the 2024 version is the new game.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So
there's a couple of Dune games coming, isn't there? Not only that. So...
there's a Dune game in Game Pass at the moment with achievements.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's also an MMO coming. Yeah.
Yeah, and the MMO. That's it.
I was more interested in the 2024 flight simulator thing that looks amazing. Is that on this list for the extended, or was it?
No, it was in the base one.
Yeah. So like that looks so good. Like all the emergency services they're adding to it and missions.
I just saw it. I was just like, oh, that's some really cool DLC. And then it was like new game. And I was like, holy shit, they're actually supporting the franchise. It's not going to go dead for like 20 years again. And
maybe this time it'll have a more reasonable achievement list. Who knows?
Yeah. Simulation games, very much down. Go Make a Ball and as for Xbox Game Pass, Round 8 shares never seen gameplay of the Lies P. I played the demo at FanFest. I fucking love it.
Day one for me.
Yeah, 100%. What else was there? Ninja Theory took behind the scenes of Hellblade 2. Lightyear Frontier gets Xbox Game Pass early access release window.
Oh yeah, that's the one with the robots farming game. Yeah, I remember that. That was last year. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's on. Yeah.
There was 10 games announced to be coming to Game Pass, which include Meneko's Night Market, which is a little kitty, big city, Japanese culture-inspired social sim.
Oh.
Turn-based RPG Sea of Stars.
Which looks really good. People are very excited for that.
Sea of Stars I'm really excited for. Action game Neon White I'm really excited for.
Game of the year contender right there. Yep.
Yeah. Narrative. Yeah, this is Neon White's probably going to make my game of the year list, even though it's going to be that whole Persona. Like we can't include a conversation in there.
Yeah. This is last year's game, but yes, I'm with you. Yeah.
Narrative adventure game The Bookwalker, which just recently hit Game Pass. Harold Halibut. Factory automation game Tectonica, city building sim The Wandering Village. I'm really excited for The Wandering Village. I've been waiting so goddamn long for it.
That Tectonica game, when I saw it being played, I was like, oh, a game for autistic people. Great. That's good to know. Yeah.
What else was there? Hospital management game Galactica. I haven't looked at that one yet. And then the Souls game about a hermit crab, another crab's treasure, which is the same devs from Going Under. Their TikToks and all that are amazing. It's like,
I think I saw this on a Nintendo Direct, actually, that one. So
they may have. Actually.
It looks good. I mean, it looks like fun.
It does.
I'm pretty sure it was like January next year or something like that. but yeah, their social team's just like, what if we gave the Hermit Crab a gun? Like, there's a whole bunch of accessibility options and all that they were announcing. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited for another Crab's Treasure. I'm really excited for Sea of Stars, Neon White, and Wandering Village. Like, to me, this is like, why the hell didn't you put this in the showcase? Especially something like Neon White. Like, it had to be a minute scissor reel, and people would have been just hyped.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, I really feel like that 45 minutes of Starfield at the end, I think really hamstrung them a little bit in terms of like how long they wanted to be on stage. But I totally agree. I really feel like getting some more of that. Yeah, getting a 3-minute sizzle reel with just like little snapshots of all the stuff came into Game Pass, I think would have been really, really big.
And then they could have just said, and stay tuned for the extended showcase.
Yeah, true. To see more of these games. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Which is what they usually do any year anyway.
Yeah, I really feel like they're just like, but we need to talk about these. We're getting our lunch eaten by Sony. We need to really talk about these big AAA games.
Yeah, which is fair. What else was there? 33 Immortals looks fucking fantastic. I'm really keen for it.
It looks really cool.
And I was reading before, it's inspired by Dante's.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. I mean,
So,
it definitely has. Yeah.
I was like, as soon as I read that, I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I was sold before, but I'm just, this is going to be day one. And then, Forza Motorsport, Builders Cup Career Mode gameplay revealed. We actually got to make, obviously, like, I know on podcasts, audio and all that. I'm holding up right now. We got to make, like, these little Xbox Forza controller holders at the show.
That's really cool.
Okay.
They let us hydro dip them and all that. And God damn it, I'm the dad here.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, but that was it for most of it. Do we want to go through? Obviously, there's been a ton of showcases over the last week or two. We had the surprise Nintendo Direct one. What was it, yesterday or the day before?
Pikmin. Yeah.
Man, I'm so pumped for Pikmin. There's not many games that can get me outside of achievement hunting, but Pikmin 1 is
I love Pikmin. I love Pikmin.
I don't like the $40 price point. That's
definitely do not like the for fucking Pikmin. I mean, Pikmin 1 and 2, but still.
I never tried them.
It's $40 for each, and then it's $70 for both.
Oh, you're kidding me! I didn't realize it was $40 for each. Oh, they can get fucked.
Yeah, and
Pikmin's an ancient game, and it's not even that long. Anyway, I'm not going to.
They're doing a physical release, so I'm hoping
Pikmin 2 is better, but yes.
I haven't played Pikmin 2. I've only played Pikmin 1. I'm kind of like, do I get Pikmin 1? Do I get Pikmin 4? Like,
I would get both, but yeah.
Anyway, so we have had a few showcases. We've obviously had the Summer Games Fest. We've had Xbox Game Showcase. We've had, what else? The PC
Ubisoft,
Capcom,
Future Game Show.
The Devolver Digital one.
Day of the Devs.
Man, Devolver.
Day of the Devs was good.
Did anybody else watch Devolvers?
I did.
Yeah, I did.
I saw the memes, but that was about it.
It really missed the mark for me.
It was terrible. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just there for the game trailers. Like, I don't really need the performance art aspect of it. I know they're just kind of famous for it now, but like, I just like Devolver usually put out good games, so I'm just like, hey, show me the game. So I don't really give a fuck if you guys are quirky.
It sucked this year though, because the game trailers were really good, and I felt like it was actually detrimental to the game trailers because of how long they took to build to that point.
Right.
Except they started off with a game trailer, and that was really, really good. It's like that Western one. I don't know what it's called.
There's a remake, wasn't it? I talked about it 2 weeks ago.
I actually don't know.
Shadows of the Damned, was that it? Or
no, not that one.
Yeah.
What is?
Taste my big boner. Yeah,
I can't remember. I can't remember what it is now. Anyway, let's just go through one at a time.
Sure.
What we're excited for. I'll start off with the one from the showcase, South of Midnight. I don't know what it is, but just like how do I describe it? Just like the art style of it.
Which team is that again?
Compulsion. So we happy few.
That's right. We happy few. That's why I was, because I was talking about this with Lee, and I was like, oh, Compulsion. I'm like, yeah, the ones who made We Happy Few, that fucking awful game.
So I got really confused. Yeah, I saw Clockwork Revolution.
Yeah,
it is not like I thought. No, that to me, just no, I do not want it. In all
That game
honesty.
looks,
okay.
that game looks incredible. I am 100% on board for that.
I was 100% like, nah, this is not me at all. But this is like Bioshock kind of.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Yeah, and that's not my kind of game.
I'll get to that. I'm actually adding that to my list. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so yeah, that looks like the kind of game that I would expect Compulsion to do, because obviously they're not. What have they done? Contrast. They've done We Happy Few. What else was
And
there?
that's it.
That's it. Okay.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
And then they revealed South Midnight, and I thought the artwork on that looked amazing. I was really invested in the character, like I don't like devilish kind of thing, playing
it's like a Deal of the Devil kind of.
Yeah, it's got a Southern Faustian vibe to it.
Yes, exactly.
Like a Baron Samedi kind of. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like great. Like as a like a theme piece. Love the art style. Love the idea.
Great.
Yeah.
What the fuck is the game?
Yeah.
Would have been nice to get a bit like they didn't have to necessarily show gameplay, but it would be nice to know what kind of genre it's in at least. Because right now it could be a fucking mobile game for all we know. It could be a match 3. Like I don't, you know.
I don't know. It hyped me up, but I'm like, once again, gameplay is key.
Yeah,
I just really miss it. Do we want to do round robin style?
Sure. Yeah, I can talk about one of the ones I saw. Prince of Persia.
Yeah.
I know it got a lot of flack. I think the music they used in the trailer was fucking awful, but it's fine.
Okay, Ubisoft's whole presentation, all the music they use.
It was bad. It was
the fact that they're using music that I feel like is going to be downloaded more than people playing Skulls and Bones. That's
my god! I mean, I'm just gonna say, like Skull and Bones. They showed a trailer and like, hey, we still don't have a release date, but there's a beta.
That song was great.
Sure.
It was okay. It was okay.
But also, it's not 2020 anymore. We don't need to hear sea shanties. It's like I said when we talked about it on Lee's on Xbox Cast. Skull and Bones was the whole idea of it was based on the tech from a 2013 game called Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Yeah.
We are now 10 years out from that, and the game is still not out.
I heard someone else talking on a different podcast. I think they said that Insomniac had released 19 games since that game came out or something. I think it was Mr. Matty Plays or something that talked about it.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, Insomniac obviously a big studio, a lot of work they've done, but but that's insane. I mean, at this point, Ubisoft just have to put it out to get some money back, right? Anyway, but yes, Prince of Persia. So I know a lot of people are upset that it is not the Sands of Time remake. I did see a great...
The trailer is more downvoted than it is liked at this point.
Yes, and I can kind of understand why, right? I did see a great hard drive article that was Ubisoft are looking to use the Sands of Time to remake the Sands of Time so they can go back in time before they made all these fuck ups. Which is fair, because to be fair, Ubisoft have been having a rough time for recently. Mostly their own fault, to be fair. But this looks like it's going to be a good one. So this is made by the Rayman Legends team, which is great because they do some amazing platformer work. It's going to be a 2D, 2.5D Metroidvania with a real emphasis on parrying and kind of like a slightly Dark Soul-esque kind of combat system in terms of like timing, being more timing based, but with a lot of like puzzles and time travel mechanics and a lot of clever shit. The extended, they did this trailer to kind of like a cinematic trailer with some gameplay, and then like a longer extended gameplay at the Ubisoft conference. It looks really fucking good.
Yeah.
Like it looks like quality.
I like it. Yeah. I'm on board.
After watching that trailer, after watching the Ubisoft showcase, I was kind of like, holy shit! I actually think I might get Ubisoft plus whatever it is for a month. For like, there was a lot of games in there, like the Crew Motorfest. I'll get a month for that to try that out. Assassin's Creed Mirage. I'll get a month to try that out.
Yeah.
Prince of Persia though looks like the most polished thing they have there.
Pretty much, like with Ubisoft Plus, everybody up to this point has played or owned all of the Ubisoft games.
Yeah,
so
and they've been on sale so many times that
So the advantage of Ubisoft Plus is that we're getting into the territory of games that people haven't bought yet, where it
Yeah.
will actually be beneficial. So yeah.
That day
Yeah.
one
Mhm.
appeal.
And
Yes.
also games that people actually want to play if they're new
Mhm.
releases is the other
Mm.
bit for that. But I totally agree. But yeah, this looks really, really good. It's coming out, I think, in January, so not too far away. Um, I'm definitely excited for it. It is again, I love a good Metroidvania. Uh, I did kind of mention I've been spreading this conspiracy theory that this started life potentially as a Immortals Phoenix Rising spinoff.
Oh yeah,
Given
this
that
combo, yeah.
yeah, given that it like very much has that kind of like it has a new art style, which people are a bit upset about. It kind of more similar to that kind of cartoony, cel shaded esque kind of thing that's in Immortals, and also the fact that the Immortals DLCs were kind of different spins using that engine. So like the China version that they did, and then the kind of Diablo style isometric top down combat game that they kind of turned the last DLC into. I could definitely see this as being like an experiment that they did,
Mhm.
or reused assets. I mean, like Prince of Persia obviously has done some like kind of out there shit where it's like, demons and stuff with like, Sands of Time and things like that. But, you don't normally fight like manticores, right? Like literal mythical creatures that would fit very easily into Greek mythology, maybe just like as a, or into
Mm.
even into like Persian mythology as like a spin-off. But either way, I'm excited. It looks really, really good. I'm probably going to be jumping on this day one, depending on the list. I mean, I really hope it doesn't have like a ridiculously difficult list, but it is something I'm very interested in.
Yes. Yep.
Kia, what about you?
Okay.
What's on your list?
Before I forget about it, the first one I want to bring up is actually the Avatar game's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
So when I realized it was actually the first person, I'm like, all right, cool. This is actually going to be like, and because I know they haven't really done a first person game or at all. Who's the team that's doing Avalanche? No, not Avalanche. The guys that did the Digital Division. I can't even think of it now.
Massive.
Massive,
That's it,
yeah. So Massive haven't really done a first person game at all, but I'm sure they've assisted on some of the other games.
Sure. I mean,
It's
that's the
looking
way Ubisoft
really,
works, yeah.
really solid. Yeah, exactly. They're across.
Yeah.
So like people are saying, it kind of looks like Far Cry, like everything else, but I mean, I'm sure there's some Far Cry elements to it,
Yeah.
like
To be fair,
bases and towns,
I
and I
will
know,
maybe. I think maybe it's a little more Far Cry even than that. It
Yeah.
looks like it's
yeah,
like you're attacking
yeah.
like outposts and
Exactly, yeah. But it's two-player local co-op. Local co-op? I think they
I
said
think
it's
it's
local
online
co-op.
co-op as well.
Online co-op. Yeah,
Yeah.
so and that's going to be really good. That'll be like a really, I don't know how far how close you can get to the other person considering the way that you interact with certain things in the environment with your the avatar thing where they, have sex with everything they touch with their tails. But
Yep,
Is
that's the
it
law.
is that the upgrade system or something that I saw from that trailer? Is
Yeah, you
is
just
that
got
a
to
thing
bang
you
a
can-
lot of
it
plants.
is. You literally attach your tail to something and then the upgrade menu appears and then you have your upgrade tree. So
I saw that. I was watching one of my streamer friends like watching because she's an Ubisoft partner, and I'm just like,
Mm.
cool. Having sex to do upgrades now.
yeah, it's great.
Like, what is
Yeah.
this?
Mm.
Like going back to the Far Cry comment too. It's funny. Like this is probably going to be more Far Cry than Redfall. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like I don't have a problem with that. I think there is definitely
fine.
still like the Far Cry formula is solid. I feel like they've diluted it and kind of not really known what to do with it over the last few games. But like as a concept, like Far Cry 5 was a solid game. It had everything you could probably ask for. It had two-player co-op like this will. I feel like this is a logical thing for them to do.
Yeah.
With the Avatar property, and this is also one that's coming out this year. One of the rare games that is.
Yeah, exactly. I think they might have actually solved the problem of, you clear an outpost and it's just permanently cleared. It kind of changes over time, and then there's a new way to interact with the environment. So,
I think the other problem I have, like going back to the Far Cry stuff, like Far Cry 6 it's just that like the scope these games are approaching. If this is like a self-contained like 20 to 25 hour kind of Far Cry, like if this feels like 3 or 4 kind of Far Cry, I'll be happy. Like I'd be, I'll happily jump on it day one. If it's the Far Cry 5, okay, 5's a little bit more reasonable. 6, where it's like 80 hours and that, it's like nah.
Yeah, I feel like one of the I say problem. I mean, this is just kind of inherent with the setting. The problem, one of the things with Far Cry is that it has to remain somewhat realistic.
Yeah,
it has those limitations because it is a real world game.
Yes. Yep.
Even the ones that have the slightly more fantastical elements, like New Dawn and I mean even like Blood Dragon, right?
Yeah.
They're grounded in reality.
In some level, where like this can be like, we're fucking blue aliens, man. We're gonna do weird shit with like flying around stuff and like weird creatures, and like they can kind of, I feel like they're gonna be able to flex the creative muscle a little bit more, which is why I'm also like relatively excited for this.
That Blood Dragon announcement, because you read it.
Oh god,
that was. I don't think I've seen a show like somebody act more cringe.
I mean, I don't know. Did you see the Twisted Metal one as well? Holy shit,
yeah.
that did not look good. Anyway,
all right,
Cameron, what about you? What's next on your list?
33 Immortals. So upcoming co-op action roguelite that is poised to redefine the genre.
Yep.
33 player co-op. Like when do we see that in kind of like a Hades like style?
Hades like, yes, that's
well,
holy shit, when that game first started being played, everyone was like, oh, they're doing a sequel to Hades. Oh no, they're not. But like, and then he died and he was like, oh no, you're not even doing a sequel, you're just literally just being like, oh, I'm gonna take that.
I believe when there was a dev interview where they only had 32 members of the development teams and they couldn't actually do a full game.
Okay, that's pretty good.
So yeah, the game will allow up to 33 players to join forces in cooperative battle for their eternal lives. Set in a meticulously crafted world inspired by Dante's The Divine Comedy, players will find themselves immersed in stunning hand-drawn art and animation that breathes life into every moment of the game. Brace yourself for a game that challenges conventions and pushes the boundaries of co-op gaming as it invites players to embark on a journey that explores the very essence of what it means to defy fate and fight for eternal life. I mean, banger game. The fact that they're exploring like co-op to that level, I'll be very interested to see, like, is this just jump into a lobby kind of?
I get the feeling it's going to be like the Journey kind of thing, where as you play through it, people will just kind of appear and disappear and fade in and out as it kind of makes sense. Because I feel like getting into a lobby is like, well, we can only find 30 of us, so unfortunately we're just going to have to wait.
Yeah. What else was there? And yeah, the dev team behind Spiritfarer.
Yeah, which was a surprise. Yeah.
Like when I saw this, I was not thinking like Spiritfarer at all. But like the art style looks gorgeous, which obviously, like if you played Spiritfarer, you understand.
Yeah, this is more like more minimalistic, but in a way that I kind of enjoy.
Yeah. But yeah, 33 Immortals is definitely one that I don't think it got a release date.
No, I don't think so. It's coming soon, basically.
I know they were demoing it.
Yeah, so it is playable in some form. So it can't be too far away. But I suspect probably not this year. Yeah. I'm excited for that one. I'm very interested in, like, gameplay wise, it looks quite simple, which I think is fine because it's like the co-op is the big thing, right, for it, and kind of because you kind of just get assigned a weapon. But I'm very curious around the, like, what's the narrative, like how about, like, again, being based on the Divine Comedy, which is, one of the most famous pieces of literature on earth.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I'm very curious to see, is this just like, are they just doing the 9 levels of hell? Are they doing like that and then purgatory? Do they do heaven afterwards? Like, do they, like, how much do they get into it? Is it just like set dressing? Are they actually interested in telling like a real narrative, or is it just like, oh, this was a cool thing? I don't know. I'm just like, as someone who,
I feel like if it's the team by Spiritfarer, though, they want to tell.
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean, right? Like the narrative in Spiritfarer was the only good part of that game, unfortunately. No, okay, that's unfair.
But me. The art style was gorgeous.
The art style was gorgeous, but playing that game was like pulling teeth, unfortunately.
There's some people out there that really enjoy Spiritfarer, and you just hurt their feelings.
I think it's a beautiful, beautiful game with an amazing narrative that is an absolute slog to play because you have to collect a bunch of shitty materials and do a bunch of stuff that's really boring, when they could have just made it a fun little point and click walking sim. Anyway, The management section of the game sucks. So I'm glad they took that out of this at least.
What's your game?
But yeah, I'm definitely excited for that. What am I excited for? Another Ubisoft announcement. Star Wars Outlaws. And I know literally everyone who knows me was watching this game be like, "Oh, did Matt do the design document for this game?" Because I was like, "Yeah, this is."
Yeah.
So again, it's another one.
That showcase for the Xbox One. I'm just like, God damn, Matt's got the Christmas wish list right now.
I fucking filled the bingo card. Like it had everything. And then they showed they showed that trailer and I was like, "Oh, cool, sweet." And then they showed the actual gameplay and I was like, "Oh, okay, all right." Now people have been like, "Oh, how much of that was actual real like gameplay?" Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, sure. This is Ubisoft, so they are the king of downgrades and bullshit. And we've looked at Watch Dogs, for example. But fuck me, this game looks like it's right up my alley. It is a Star Wars game set between episodes 5 and 6, where the Empire is at their height. You play a fucking like bounty hunter outlaw with like a commando droid in a trench coat. You have like narrative decision stuff, third person cover-based combat, stealth elements. Like it feels like it's got it feels like they're like, Watch Dogs is cool, let's put some Star Wars around it. And I feel like Ubisoft is like nearly the perfect company to do this kind of game.
Yeah.
Because I played a lot of Ubisoft games. It feels like it's like Watch Dogs is great, and I'm really sad that they didn't do a proper third one. But like this feels like a kind of the logical conclusion about going, okay, well, we have this tech, we have like a modern day version of the Assassin's Creed sort of formula. Let's like Star Wars it up. And because this Star Wars is like so rich in lore and so much you can pull from. And like it's the kind of thing where it's like it's really easy to have a lot of side stories and other planets and other races and creatures and kind of factions and that kind of stuff. Like it makes perfect sense. So I'm incredibly excited for this. And then the fact that they got in the spaceship was like, oh, they're going to go to another planet. Nah, bro, we're going to have a fucking dogfight. Like they just, it's like Star Wars Squadrons get fucked. Like we're going to put your game in this. So yeah, gets into the fight with the TIE fighters, does the hyperspace thing. I mean, obviously, like, you know, it's a gameplay thing where it's very, very segmented. It wasn't like a true playthrough, but it had a HUD, it had like combat, it had conversation stuff, had story. Like I'm all about it. I'm very curious to see like what the overall narrative is of it, and how much Jedi bullshit they cram into it. But I'm glad to see a game like, as much as I love Fallen Order and Survivor, like I love the Jedi stuff. It is really cool to see another story that doesn't involve around the fucking Skywalkers or the Force.
It's just stealing the Death Star plans, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, hey, if they do the Rogue One, well, technically Death Star plans have already been stolen at this point, but Death Star 2 plans, maybe, yes.
Yeah.
Many Bonthan spies are unfortunately going to die in this game. But yes, that's I'm very excited for that, as you can probably tell. And that looks like it's going to be a next year game as well. So,
once again, that's the massive one. The Star Wars
another
that
massive
they were
game.
working
Massive
on.
are basically Massive are doing fucking work over it.
Oh yeah, all over it. So they were very excited for that one. Yeah.
Kia, what about you?
Yeah, so actually I really, really dig the Still Wakes the Deep. So it's looking really good. It's done by the Chinese Room. And they've done some Amnesia work and
Machine
stuff like
for
that.
Pigs, yep.
Yes, yeah. So I haven't really played through any Amnesia stuff. I kind of had the trilogy on PC, but didn't really get into it for the first one. Was a little bit hard to get into. Didn't
they do Dear Esther back in the day?
They did. I'm looking at the Steam list of games that they did. They've done Dear Esther, Everybody's Gone to the Rapture.
Oh yes, okay.
Frictional, which is a collection of games. I don't know what that is, and Little Orpheus is another one as well.
Yeah, so they are essentially this company is responsible for the walking simulator. They essentially popularized it with Dear Esther.
Yeah. So so there's not really too much to say about it. It's another survival one in the same style, but it looks like it's got a pretty good narrative to it. So it's looking good.
Definitely gives me like a sort of Amnesia Soma kind of walking sim spooky stuff kind of game.
Yeah. But yeah, as I said, not much to say about it. Anyway, so I couldn't really tell you anymore. So I'm keen to go back and play some of their other games, just to see how it's going to feel So cool. Well, that's me for that one. So
Completely forgot
Cameron?
that Sumo bought them in 2018.
Yeah, they did.
Time to look at that. Remnant 2.
Yeah.
And look, if you've listened to this podcast long enough, you know that me, Brad, and Matt loved Remnant 1. It was just one of those games that was just a surprise hit. Like, you go in kind of expecting, a AA experience, and you get something that's a lot more fleshed out.
You go in getting a AA experience, but it was a good one. It was a really good one.
I don't know if that was just the free player co-op, but like the fact that you could, in the original, like shoot something outside of it and it would affect how the bosses, like what drops you'd get, that kind of stuff. I really enjoyed the time with it. I know you didn't like the DLC. With the,
well, I don't like roguelike modes, and I also don't like randomization, which was my biggest problem with that game, because I really enjoyed playing through it. But if they had just made it a static world like a Dark Souls and just patched it all together in a way that makes sense, I would have probably enjoyed it a lot more. But I still it's a solid game, and I enjoyed it a lot more than I was expecting.
Yeah. So Gunfire Games announced that the sequel will launch on July 25th, which honestly was a lot sooner than I was expecting. I was expecting, maybe the last quarter of the year, if we were lucky. Remnant 2 is the sequel to the game referred to as Dark Souls of Guns, and is coming with procedurally generated levels and storylines. So I'm very interested. I'm probably going to wait like a week or two just to see if we don't have a... they released the game, one of their first games was Chorus. I can't remember what the subtitle of it is. But Chorus had a BFA achievement, which was still broken to this day. And they have no intention of fixing it, so...
Yeah. Was that the one that was the prequel?
Yeah, the prequel to... So, it's like Chorus, something about the trees.
Trees?
Because Remnant, the Fallen Ash is the main one, right?
Yeah, no, it's not Chorus, because Chorus is the flight one.
Sorry, not Chorus. How do you pronounce it?
Is it Corvus?
Yeah, something along those lines. Let me just find it. So yeah, Gunfire is the developer. It is Coronos, CHRONOS, Before the Ashes.
Oh, right. Yeah,
So,
Cronus.
Okay.
Yeah, is the sequel, but yeah, that BFA achievement's just unfortunately been broken the whole time, and they joke about it in their Discord about fixing it one day.
Oh, that's right. They did Darksiders 3. I completely forgot about that.
That was released back in 2020, so it's been a little bit now. Anyway, yeah, Remnant I'm really excited on. Granted, the achievements work.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a little less excited, but I probably will get dragged into playing it. Because I'm sure it'll be a great time. And it looks like they're just taking the first game and expanding out on like new weapons, new types of enemies, like very new kind of environments. That was kind of my main issue with the first game, was that it was quite samey quite quickly.
Yeah.
That's fair. I did enjoy for what we did play of it though.
Yeah, no, I had a good time. Like I definitely did. It just kind of overstayed its welcome a little bit. Okay, this one's an obvious one. Alan Wake 2. Holy shit, this game looks good.
I still do not understand how this game is going to play exactly. But I know that it's going to be like day one.
So pretty much, did you want to explain it, Matt?
No, go ahead, Kia.
Oh yeah. So in it, you can interchange at any time the two characters that you play as, but there's a point so you can entirely play the game with one character or the other character.
Yeah.
But at the end of the game, you're kind of forced into a situation where you have to do something in particular. So that's basically
the only thing that concerns me then is that going to lead to missable achievements and that kind of stuff, or multiple playthroughs. Or...
I get the feeling that it's going to be like, I'm thinking more like Godfather 2, where it's like they just have two concurrent narratives and you kind of pick and choose when you want to do each part, but you got to do each part at some stage. So you just kind of
possibly, yeah.
You do path A and then you do path B, but you could do half of path A and then do some of path B and then go back to path A. Like,
imagine getting to the end with one character and then going, oh shit, I have to play the whole game again with the other character to see the ending.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very, I mean, that's probably roughly what's going to happen, because I feel like they're going to have very different stories. Yeah, so it definitely has that, like, I feel like they've sort of tapped into that survival horror part, like a more sort of Resident Evil Outlast kind of, like that's the kind of tone they're going for. A lot darker. And it looks like there's going to actually, like, there's more sort of emphasis on like puzzles and some detective stuff as well for one of the characters that you're playing. Because one of them is you're playing as an FBI character, and the other one you're playing as Alan Wake. And was it like Alex Casey? Casey, what is alive in this thing? And which is very interesting because that person is a character from one of Alan Wake's books, from Departure. So that person is like, so how much of it is real? How much of these people are actually real people? How much of them are characters? Because obviously there's the thing where you read the manuscript and you're reading about the thing that's about to happen. I mean, and it all takes place in the Control universe, and I love Control, and I really enjoy Alan Wake, and Quantum Break a little bit is pretty good as well. Like I'm fucking invested, and this game looks incredible. And this is coming out October 31st, so coming out Halloween.
I can't wait for the YouTube video that's like 2 hours long of somebody connecting all the dots and
exactly. I will watch the video essay on that the 4 hour long 2-part video essay. 100%. So yes, I'm very, very excited for this game.
I think it's definitely gonna be day one.
I think this is like Game of the Year contender stuff. Like they are. And also Sam Lake's in it as he's, which is great. Like you get to see Max Payne's face.
I can't remember if it was during Summer Game Fest or something. I don't know if it was like a video just got randomly put across to me, but like him, like how he does the
the face. That was Summer Games Fest. Because he came out talking to Keeley about it and stuff.
Just like how he managed. I thought it was really cool.
The face.
What about you, Kia? What's your next?
I have been waiting for the doors to be opened on the multiplayer horror fests that have been happening on PC, where you get everybody in a room and then scary stuff happens, and there's all these little games popping up. But Phasmophobia coming to console is actually stellar. That is, I've been waiting for a long time to appear on console, and that's going to get me now. So that'll be really good.
One of the most fun broken games I've ever seen in my entire life. It has all the fun of Gmod with ghosts.
So it'd be nice if you could kind of get a little bit more modding and stuff like that happening in the game. But you see some really, really good stuff with it. So it might be pretty cookie cutter in terms of like how it's actually going to be. But yeah, so there's been some really good content. But I mean, that thing is, if that can push for more games of that style to be on console, that would be great. There's been some really good updates for it. I think they actually only just did a recent update, actually. Again, like in another one in like and it kind of seems like a Saw kind of house kind of thing. Yeah, it's kind of like designed on the Saw movies a little bit.
Is that game still in early access? Because it has been for ages, right?
Maybe. I haven't followed it that recently, but they just keep adding like new content level by level.
It's one of those ones that just will not go away. And obviously it's like it's pure like YouTuber bait and Twitch bait, right? Because
exactly. Yeah. All
right. Moving on, Liza P. I am so keen for Liza P. They had the demo stations. So there was 5 of us like at Fortress, like sitting around the booth setup they have. And like every time we died, we were just passing the controller on, which is doing the Liza P demo. And I tell you what, like, I'm not trying to be smug or something here, but like I've obviously played these games a lot more than other people.
Sure. So
then you pass it to somebody, they die within like 2 minutes, and then it just goes back, and you're like 20 minutes later.
Cool, I got a 20-minute demo, thanks.
The bus just wrecks you, and then you're like, oh, here you go.
They're like, oh, thanks. Yeah, thanks. You give me the part that you couldn't do.
But I'm really keen. Like I really like the double A Dark Souls kind of games, and
Hmm.
I'm very interested to see what the achievement list is going to be. But
Yeah.
from what I played of the demo, everything's shaping out to be like pretty damn solid.
Yeah, I mean, like it's wearing its Bloodborne influence on its sleeve, but like I'm totally okay
Mm.
with that. And
Yeah.
yeah, and it's coming to Game Pass, which is fucking perfect.
I'm really interested to see how the narrative fits in, like around the whole Pinocchio aspect and lying and
Mm.
that kind of system. Yeah, definitely. Like, not really much else to say other than that. The demo features the first two chapters, which
When is
includes
that coming out? Is it September? That's like
September
it's not too
19th.
far. Yeah, cool, great.
Mm.
Yeah, so it'll be out, like there's a few games that are coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm thinking game of the year contender for me on that one, depending on how the rest of the game is. But I'm very fucking excited as a big Dark Souls fan. This one's going to come as no surprise to anyone. Metaphor ReFantasio, which is the new Persona team game.
Yes. Yep.
Fuck, this looks good. Like
That UI
when I saw the trailer for
system.
this,
That UI system.
oh
Skill
yeah,
just
well,
keeps gushing over it.
I mean he's not wrong. I mean like
It does look good.
like when I first saw it, I was like, oh, they're doing like another Shin Megami Tensei game. That's interesting. I was like, no, they're doing just a whole nother fucking game. They were just like, they're just like, nah, bro. We like a bunch of the people who did Persona 5 were like, hey, we want to make a new game. And they were like, yeah, go for it. Persona 6 is still miles away. So let's go make like a fantasy game with a lot of those amazing systems. Like, yeah, it's kind of like a medieval sort of whereas like Shin Megami Tensei kind of crosses a lot of different stuff. I mean, like if you played Soul Hackers, for example, that it takes place in the same universe. But this just looks like it's got style out the ass, and I'm so fucking excited for it because I'm like, hey, look, taking the systems that work so well for Persona 5 and putting them in a more traditional fantasy setting. I'm so curious to see how those things work together, and I hope they really do well. But I mean, they're standing on the shoulders of giants with Persona 5, which is again one of the greatest JRPGs of all time. And I know I'll probably get some flack for saying that, but I think that in terms of across the board, it's just an absolutely fantastic game. So I'm very, very excited for this. I mean, obviously, I'm excited for Persona 3 Reload and Persona 5 Tactics as well. I'll just give those a quick mention. Even though I had a sneaky suspicion they would be showing up after Atlas dropped the fucking ball.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm super excited for that. Again, we didn't really see a huge amount of it, but they've obviously been working on it for a little while, so I'm hoping it's not too far away.
Yeah.
I feel like there was another Atlas. I feel like I saw something recently too. There was another Atlas game in development outside of the
Persona 6 has apparently been in development for a little while.
It was like another spin-off kind of like Tactica.
Could be. Surprise me.
I don't know where I've found it. Anyway.
I mean, to be fair, like Atlas is quite a large studio and they do a lot of work. I mean, they are kind of like Sega's JRPG workhorse.
Oh, here it is. Rumored P6 for 20, like obviously take it with a grain of salt. P6 2026, and future projects will lead up to, including like the stuff that's already been announced.
Yeah, which makes sense. Yeah. But I mean, it's interesting because Persona 5 is actually like the game is based on PS3 hardware to give you an idea of how long it took for that game to come out from when it was announced or when it was talked about. Because you got to remember that like Persona 3 and 4 were PlayStation 2 games.
Yeah,
and then we didn't get another Persona game until the PS4. Kia, what about you?
Yeah. After playing Limbo recently, once again, it was good to kind of see the lead game designer of that has like another game coming out called Cocoon.
Yeah.
It was in the Day of the Devs.
Have they got a release date yet?
No, I don't think so.
No,
so
they announced that last year, I think, right? Yeah.
It's kind of like a worldception thing where you can come in and out of the worlds, kind of like I think by the press of the button you kind of go deeper into like the worlds, or they come out and you find that the hub is kind of like a massive web of like cocoons of worlds and stuff like that. But you actually as you come out of the world, you can use that orb basically to solve puzzles along the way and interconnect the worlds and put them into places, into positions and stuff like that. So it looks really, really good.
It
Yeah, and
looked
you have to
really
use them to solve.
mind-bendy when I saw the original
Oh
trailer for
yeah,
it last year.
yeah,
I
it
was like,
will.
man, how am I
Yeah.
going to wrap my
Mm.
fucking head around this?
Yeah, it's like those old puzzles you did as a child where you're rolling a ball through a maze and you just
Mhm.
drop it into a hole. But it's like it goes into another maze, so you have to solve that maze to drop it into another hole.
Yeah,
So yeah, so
it's
that's it.
fucking
That's
balls
it,
all the
man.
way down.
Yeah.
I can't wait to wait 2 weeks until there's a guide that turns this into a 2-hour experience and play then.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, you'll be able to drop it one into one area and then take it straight to the end game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you got another one, Cameron?
Yeah, I think this will be my last
Mm-hmm.
one. Bookwalker, which just came out today. I saw this.
Okay.
Future Game Show started off really weird. They
Mhm.
did like a 3-minute music video for this other game that I have not seen pop up anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And then a few trailers in, they had a game that had like a really cinematic trailer for the Bookwalker Thief of Tales. It's a narrative adventure game
Mm-hmm.
from the developer Do My Best. You get put in. I'm going to butcher this name. In the shoes of Etine Quist, former writer who can enter book worlds after losing the ability to write when accused of a crime. Quist uses his ability to steal things from other books in the hope that he can write again. Nothing is safe in the book world, so expect to be stealing fanciful items like Excalibur and Thor's hammer. I played like 5 to 10 minutes of this before the podcast. Obviously, didn't have enough
Mm-hmm.
time to do everything. What starts off walking sim like in what I imagine to be an apartment. You're being arrested for 30 years. You're essentially calling somebody on the phone like, "Hey, can you like get me out of this?" And then he brings the suitcase across where you can dive into books.
I was going to say, this is starting to sound like the beginning of Paradise Killer, and I'm kind of on board.
It's really like from what I played so far, I've only played a little bit of the first level. It feels like it is a mix between walking sim in hub world
Mhm.
and then Disco Elysium kind of isometric RPG.
Oh, okay, right.
But like text-based RPG, so it's like,
Sure.
do you want to open the door? Then it gives you 3 options, and then that kind of stuff. But it has the health system in that as well. Yeah, that's as much. I haven't played very much at the moment, but it looked really interesting. It's kind of one of those games that I kind of want somebody to figure out the hard stuff and then just go
Sure.
through an experience. But yeah, that's just me. I don't know. The achievements don't look too bad, but there may be some missables on the list. But yeah, that's the last one I'm really excited for.
Sweet.
Mm.
And this one's probably going to come as no surprise. BioClock, also known as Clockwork Revolution.
So this was
game,
Wasteland team.
in Exile,
in
Wasteland, the
Exile,
Wasteland devs,
Mm.
which I did talk about the other week, had apparently been working on some crazy shit. This is the crazy shit they've been working on, which is, I'm like, right, that's fantastic. Because, I mean, yeah, like, I saw a thing where someone was talking about how the, like, I mean, yeah, it has Bioshock Infinite vibes. It is like Bioshock Infinite meets Dishonored. It looks like, where it's like it's going to be like an RPG. You're going to level up and get stuff, but it's going to be a first-person sort of combat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 100% all about it. Like, this ticks all of my fucking boxes. Like, it looks like it has like immersive sim elements. It looks like it has like time travel shit. Looks like it has powers and gunplay and like a really interesting kind of steampunk world. I'm all for it.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
But my mind, I'm really hoping. The trailer didn't sell me on it, but I keep on thinking back to how much I enjoyed Heroes Gemini Reborn.
Oh, yeah, right.
Like, if I have that, those kind of powers, and I can mess around with, that time aspect, that will get me on board. I
don't know. I mean, I'm very curious. Like, the proof in the pudding is in the eating, right? So, I feel like this is all very trailer-esque stuff, but in Exile do some great fucking work. I mean, the Wasteland games are very high quality for what they are. It's just that like they just don't have a huge mass market appeal in terms of like what kind of games those are. Like there's a barrier to entry there that's a little bit hard to get over. I feel like this is going to do very, very well. And obviously come to Game Pass, and it'll be coming out in due time, as they said in the trailer, which is quite good. But like they at least had some gameplay to show, so I'm hoping that it's maybe next year. But I get the feeling it might be a 2025 release, which is a little bit rough.
I would bet like 18 to 24 months now.
Yeah, definitely. Because this looks like a big thing for them. And yeah, it's people have done some like BioShock Infinite versus Clockwork Orange like comparisons of the trailers and stuff, and like someone was like, "Hey, BioShock Infinite had some good ideas." BioShock Infinite is a bad game, by the way. As much as I love BioShock Infinite is not a very good game, unfortunately. I know it's a controversial take, but
sorry, BioShock is a bad game. That's what I'm hearing.
No. BioShock Infinite is a bad game. BioShock 1 and 2 are fucking fantastic.
I don't care for BioShock, you know this.
Yeah, it's fine. You can be wrong. But yes, so I'm incredibly excited for this because it has all the elements I'm looking for, and I trust in Exile to make a quality game.
I will say the bridge gameplay looked interesting. Like that rewind aspect of it.
The rewind time thing, yeah. Where you like destructible environments and things like that, yeah.
All right, Keo, what do you got for us?
Well, last one for me, I think, it was another Day of the Devs announcement. So it's Haunty.
I need to watch.
If you haven't seen what Haunty is, it's Haunt with 2 eyes at the end. It's actually like a top-down puzzle game that actually has a really cool glow-in-the-dark look. So it's just like a green and black mapping like over all the textures and stuff. And basically it's pretty much a twin stick shooter without the shooting. But you basically point in a direction and you're a ghost and you possess objects and you solve puzzles with the objects in a room before you move on to the next room.
Damn, all right.
Yeah, so it's looking really, really good.
I can 100% see why this was part of the Day of the Devs.
Yeah.
Like that,
yeah.
that kind of art style is just so reminiscent of Day of the Devs.
I'm just looking at the art style, and I'm sorry, but I just can't stop myself from just being like SEAL Team 6 going dark, and then just putting the night vision goggles on, and then just playing this game.
Yeah. So that's it for me. That really, really stood out. So yeah, like it'll be interesting to see how they incorporate the puzzles into the rooms, possessing different items and stuff like that. But I guess it kind of has a story reminiscent of Spiritfarer, where it's kind of telling you what people leave behind when they die. You know, so yeah, so they didn't really say. I don't think they said how the narrative was going to be told, but yeah, but it'd be interesting to see how that works. Yeah, that's it.
Did any of you guys have honorable mentions?
I have a couple. I just want to say I'm glad we saw some Fable. I know people were a little bit upset that it was all like almost all of it was in engine, just like it was basically just Richard R. Whitey being funny. It was a little bit of gameplay, but I was hoping for a bit more. But I again kind of get the feeling that this is going to be they're still quite far out from this game coming out.
I will say though, Playground Games engine, like the one that they use for Forza Tech. Like holy shit, it looks good.
It like this they're using the Forza tech for this game, which is incredible. Which is super great. I mean, the Forza tech is incredible. So I just want to give a couple of honorable mentions to the fact that they're doing Capcom had a kind of a shit showcase, but they had a couple of things that I was like, oh cool. Ghost Trick, the Phantom Detective, which is what you were talking about actually. Here reminded me of Ghost Trick about possessing objects.
Yeah, that's a good game.
Please, people buy this game when it comes
definitely.
out.
Yeah.
Please buy this fucking game because it did not sell when it was on the DS, and it is an absolute masterpiece. And it has one of the best dances in video games. You need to check it out.
I'm sorry, I will buy Phoenix Wright, and that's all I will buy from Capcom.
That was the other one.
That was the other one for me too.
They're bringing out they're remastering Phoenix Wright's 4, 5, and 6 basically.
I looked at that. I didn't watch the showcase, but I looked at that showcase breakdown. And I'm like, really strange that they just surrounded all like a Phoenix Wright release announcement with all this junk.
Yeah, it was all just trash. I mean, like, they showed a bit of Dragon's Dogma 2 or whatever, which also looks amazing. But yeah, like, it's like Ghost Trick again, like same sort of thing. You need to fucking play it when it comes out. It's gonna be like $30 or whatever. I would definitely recommend playing it. And yeah, the Phoenix Wright trilogy, I'm really excited for because they're remastering. So Apollo Justice was like Phoenix Wright 4, which was the last one that I played before like they moved on to like 3DS and stuff, and I didn't get a chance to play those ones. So I'm just like, yes. I love Phoenix Wright.
Then we're just really missing the Miles stuff.
Yes, the
Edgeworth, I think it is. Miles Edgeworth, is that it?
Yeah, Edgeworth.
Yeah.
Edgeworth was Ace Investigator or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, it was.
But there's two of them. Yeah. Which are also really, really good games. Again, I love that. I love that entire universe. It's so good. But yeah, and then like that's kind of. I mean, there was a lot. There was a lot of other small stuff that like I don't want to go through the whole fucking list because it'd be here all day. But I was really impressed with the stuff I was shown. I'm a big indie gamer. Seeing a lot of stuff come to Game Pass and like seeing small, interesting experiences always gets me more excited than AAA games. Because I don't feel like I'm going to be dealing with bullshit microtransactions or getting fleeced or having like oversaturation of stuff. That's what I'm here for. So I'm all about it.
A few honorable mentions I just want to quickly go through. I really liked Dungeons of Hinterberg that was shown off during the Xbox showcase. Starfield, I'm very interested. Like, I'm not an RPG player. I'm kind of like, I might give it a go. I
like Fallout. I like Skyrim. I'm probably going to enjoy this game for a few hours. Like I'm going to get a good 20 hours out of it, and then the next 30, I'm going to be like, oh, for fuck's sake. But like, it's going to be a great 20 hours.
I don't know though. Like Todd Howard confirmed, and kind of funny that they're not going to have fishing.
Oh well, in that case, I'm not interested.
I don't know. Like quickly going through like Mortal Kombat 1. Me and Nikita are really excited for September. Homeseek I've been playing through for work, which I've really enjoyed, and I'm really keen to see some aspects being delivered. Resistor, which I haven't seen anybody really cover. Car RPG.
Car PG, yep.
Yeah, Car PG looks really cool. Lords of the Fallen, they kind of did like a little bit of extended showing during the Future Game Show. That I am actually really excited for Lords of the Fallen.
I'm in the mood for another Dark Souls game.
Yeah. You know? And like how they were explaining like how it kind of looked like the traditional Lords of the Fallen, like Dark Souls-y kind of game, mixed with the mechanic from Medium.
Oh, okay,
but that's
interesting.
tied into your health. That's like if you die, you go into that phase, and then it's like the longer you stay in there, the harder it gets. Kind of definitely recommend going back and looking at the extended showing of the Lords of the Fallen for Future Game Show. It's really interesting.
I don't think I saw any of the Future Game Show stuff.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. That sounds really good.
They did like a few deep dives and like some of the fighting with the bosses. Really cool. Probably completely skipped your radar. Enchanted Portals. It is 100% a Cuphead clone, but it looks amazing. Like it's got the same kind of art style without the static, 1930s look. Like I'd say this is more like a 1950s, 60s animation.
Okay.
Kind of thing. Co-op systems as well. Same kind of thing. I don't know if it's online, but looked great. I'm going to check that out. And the last one I have was Stray Gods, the role-playing musical. Because
I'm sorry, the role-playing musical, did you say?
Yeah. Have you seen
that? Sounds familiar. I don't know. I've
definitely heard of this. I saw the art style looks incredible.
The art style's incredible. Aussie team. The voice acting's incredible. I need to look up.
This is a Humble Games published game, so that makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
Humble Game. I'm pretty sure they're Aussie devs, if I'm not mistaken.
It's coming out in August, which is actually not too far away.
Greek Mythology. Yeah, Summerfall Studios. So you have. Come on. You've got Laura Bailey as Grace. You've got Troy Baker as Apollo. Mary Elizabeth McGlynn as Persephone. And then, like, the list just keeps going, like, stellar voice. I'm sure this is probably going to be, like, one of those ones that's, like, probably not too long. But from what I've seen from the trailers, it looks amazing.
Oh, it's being written by David Gator. Holy crap! Okay, that's yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was the one who spoke at PAX, the first PAX that we went to.
Okay. So
He did a really, really good talk on that, actually.
players must figure out a way in the modern fantasy world. Figure out a way in this modern fantasy world by using their charm, negotiation skills, or ability to strong arm through conversations. Each choice comes with fully interactive musical numbers composed by Grammy-nominated composer Austin Wintry.
It's funny, actually. I'm reading the Wikipedia article.
Yep.
And as I just said, I was like, oh, yeah. It was originally named Chorus, an adventure musical. The game was successfully crowdfunded after it was announced at PAX Australia in the opening keynote in 2019.
There you go.
Yeah, okay. So it literally was the yes. Like I knew it sounded familiar.
But yeah, I'm really keen for this one.
Yeah, this looks great, and it looks like it's going to have some real narrative chops, considering the lead writer from when BioWare was good is doing it.
Yeah,
I am super on board.
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much my list.
Yeah, and I only really have I'm interested in seeing what Path of the Goddess turns out like, but it's hard to really see what the game's going to be.
Yeah, I didn't see enough of it to be really form an opinion.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
It just looks like Narita. Narita? Is it
Narita the
Yeah. It looks like Narita, but it
Naraka,
plays Naraka. That's the game.
Naraka,
yeah,
yes.
I didn't have the game name in front of me, so I'm like, what is that?
Naraka.
No,
Blade Point.
The Blade Point. Yeah, it looks like Blade Point, but plays like a
I was
Dynasty Warriors kind of.
It looks like an interesting mix between like a typical character action game, but like not quite as like frenetic as like a Bayonetta or a Devil May Cry. It looks a bit more methodical, but not all the way down to like a Dark Souls. So I'm very curious to see what that looks like. Also the fact that it just kind of fucking came out of nowhere.
Yeah, pretty much, and was in like 2 showcases. So.
Yeah.
Right, I'm gonna smash through the Game Pass announcements.
Yep.
So we have Need for Speed Unbound and the Bookwalker coming today. Need for Speed Unbound is actually really good, except everything but the music. The music is absolutely trash.
And that playlist achievement.
Playlist achievement?
There's the one for like you could like do a full playlist with 8 players or whatever, I think.
Oh yeah, that one too. But I guess now that it's in Game Pass, it's probably going to be a lot easier.
A lot of people to play it, sure. I might actually play it because apparently
I might install it just to do that and get it out of the way.
Like it's good mechanics. Like I got it done before Chris did, so take that, Chris, if you're listening.
I I enjoy a good racing game. I'm just not very good at them.
Yeah. I mean, there's better racing games out there, but anyway.
Sure.
Bramble the Mountain King. Sorry, the Bookwalker, which we've talked about before. Bramble the Mountain King is coming out on June 27th. That's probably going to be one that I jump on immediately. I bought this game because I know that one of my friends said it was Game of the Year material. So I'm very interested. Fist Forged and Shadow Torch, also June 27th, is a puzzle platforming Metroidvania. It was announced back in the summer of 2020 and launched in fall of 2021. It's I think it's been on other platforms before and now.
I think it's been on PlayStation. Yeah.
Story of Seasons, Friends of Mineral Town.
Allison's going to be very excited.
Yeah, I think I showed this to Charlotte quite a while ago because the art style. But if I'm not mistaken, this was the one that had the physical edition with the sheep. Like the
pretty sure. Well, to be fair, Story of Seasons is the original devs who made Harvest Moon.
Oh, okay.
And so what happens is there were a bunch of Harvest Moon games, and then they got into a split. And so the companies, the developers went off to make Story of Seasons, and then the original owner of the IP went off to continue the Harvest Moon series. And the Harvest Moon series has taken a fucking nosedive because it's shit. And so Story of Seasons is where all the true fans are. Allison absolutely loves these fucking games, and Friends of Mineral Town is one of her favorite.
The cozy cool farming sim, where players take over the lake grandfather's farm to restore it to its former abundant glory.
Again, very very much the very much what Stardew Valley is based on in terms of spiritual successor.
Yeah.
Okay, no. I thought Arcade Paradise was the one I bought, but I bought Arcade Geddon. It's a love letter to management sims of 90 arcades. In it, the player in their late teens tasked with managing their father's laundromat. Naturally, they turn the dull washer and dryer parlor into a jamming arcade where all the cabinets are playable. Also available on consoles. That's
I'm
July
pretty sure
3rd.
I saw a review of that somewhere. I think it was like maybe in like a Super Eye Patch Wolf or like a Put This On Your Radar or something along those lines, where it was like it's got a real like beautiful kind of like it's quite a simple game, but it's got like a real nice kind of message to it.
I like those kind of like simple management sims. So if it's anything like what I'm thinking of, I'll definitely check it out. Sword and Fairy Together Forever is also coming out July 5th. Chinese-made role-playing game and a party-based adventure which players explore their stories and rivalries.
I would say, holy shit, does that game look over dramatic if you watch the trailer for it. It is like a Chinese drama. It is incredible.
I'll have to go check it out.
Yeah, definitely check out the trailer. I was like, wow.
And then games leaving Game Pass, we have DJ Max Respect 5, which with the DLC that came out was one
next
of the
to impossible to finish. Good fucking luck. Yep.
Most expensive completions, but damn that ratio. Empire Sin, heard good things, but like 80 to 100 hours, you won't have enough time. Matchpoint Tennis Championships, it's tennis. Elijah, Amori, and Road 96.
Aaliyah, but yes.
Aaliyah, sorry.
Yeah, Aaliyah is a relatively straightforward 5 to 6 hour side scroller. It says Metroidvania, but it really isn't. It's just
simple, right?
It's very simple.
Yeah.
It's got there's a little bit of complexity in there, but it is pretty straightforward. It's quite short. It's just make sure you check the walkthrough. There are a couple of missables in there and that stuff that's quite easy to. I got into a glitch in one part, like it's a little bit buggy. Yeah, like it's a Devolver game, but it's kind of not. I don't think it's quite at their usual level of quality.
Okay.
Omori is a absolutely fantastic turn-based RPG with a lot of Earthbound influences, but with a very mature story. There's a lot going on in that game. It delves into it again in the same way that every fucking indie game is about depression and all that kind of stuff. But it's very, very interesting. Does require 2 playthroughs. Second playthrough is kind of not great. It kind of feels like they just kind of tacked it on. But the first playthrough is where all the story is and where it's fucking top notch. Highly recommend it. And Road 96, similar story. Great game. Sort of Telltale meets Walking Sim, where you basically make decisions of trying to escape a sort of war-torn nation that's kind of like, you know, a sort of Eastern Bloc style government has taken over and is closing the borders, and you're trying to basically find your way to sort of skip across and escape. But it's told in a way that every decision that you make will lead you to a random one of several random potential levels. So you meet various characters. You basically play as multiple characters, and you meet these other characters at various points in the game, but it's non-linear, so you don't know what the next part's going to be until you get to it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's super interesting idea. It's a little bit janky, but like as a concept is like, I was like, wow, this is actually like a really interesting kind of game.
That sounds like the Kaleidoscope TV show, which I haven't watched yet, where Netflix kind of sets the order uniquely per user, and you can watch every episode individually, and everyone will watch it differently. You can either see the last episode at the start or partway through, and it all works together, but at the end it's it all makes sense, but it's just a different experience every single time you watch it.
Interesting. This kind of has similar vibes to it, where it's like you're basically like, okay, well, do you want to travel by car? Do you want to steal a car? Do you want to travel by bus? Do you have money? Where are you going to get money from? Are you going to work? Like, you're going to meet people. You're going to meet like criminals. You're going to meet like a TV reporter. Like, you meet these characters over and over and over again. And you learn more about them. And the thing is, like, all you have to do is get to the border, and then you got to try and find your way across. But you might not succeed getting across. Like, there are a lot of things that, like, and every time you get across with a certain way, the government will then shut down that route, and you got to find another way across. And so that could be like bribing a guard. It could be like going across a mountain to try and go the mountainous route. It could be finding a secret tunnel. It could be hiding in a truck. Like, there's all kinds of different kind of ways to get out. And obviously it's got like a very sort of political message to it that's really, really interesting. So I definitely recommend that before it leaves. It's not a super long game either. And they're also doing a prequel to it as well.
I wouldn't be surprised if that comes to Game Pass in the future.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it would be a good fit for that. Yeah.
I'm gonna...
sorry, I know you were trying to speed through that, Cameron.
Yeah. All good. I'm gonna quickly just go through what I've been playing. In all honesty, most of my week has been part of the Steam Next Fest, running competition for Homeseek, where getting the top two, like basically as soon as you can complete one of the levels, you get an overall performance score for that particular level. So we've done a demo version, which is level 1. Basically, just challenge the community, just like, all right, cool. The demo's out. 2 people with the best highest score will get a copy of the game at release.
Cool.
I'm like, all right, cool. Set that up. I have tried so goddamn hard to crack into the 90s.
I was going to say, so you basically made sure you wanted the top spot, right?
I got like 89%. I've got 2 people and 92% ahead of me. And I thought I had like a perfect run.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been having fun with that. I've been testing some of the other stuff. And there'll be some other stuff in coming weeks that I can't talk about yet. Other than that, I've either been sick or Diablo 4. Diablo 4, I pushed really hard to get all the miscellaneous achievements out of the way. So I've done, I did essentially the full map and everything on my first playthrough as Necromancer. I'm in the mid 60s in terms of level now. I've got to go back and do like not for achievement, little statues just to get the extra points and that to bump my stats up. I went through, because I've done that, you've got on standard mode, the map and that will carry over and your skill points will carry over. Right. So then when you start on a new character on, use just standard gameplay, you get 10 skill points off the bat extra. So that makes it incredibly easy to just bust out, before you get to the first town, the miscellaneous achievement. Gotcha. So if you're going to do anything, do your first playable character, do the entire campaign, get your skill points from that, from all 5 areas, then start your new characters up, get to like level 5 or whatever, and then just do the miscellaneous achievements. I'm down to, I did my hardcore with Sorcerer. Sorcerer is really good at defending yourself. You got like Frost Armor. You got a Flame Shield, which can grant like 2 to 3 second immortality, I believe.
Oh.
So it can come in really handy. I honestly didn't use Flame Shield. I kept on using a really nice combo of a build for Arclash. So Arclash, standard ability, basically electrical fingers, just attack like that. Sorry, electrical staff. Why did I say electrical fingers? Anyway, stun with that.
Zap, zap, motherfucker.
Yeah, just essentially zap, zap, motherfucker. And then using the ultimate and just doing a whole bunch of like stun damage and all that. And I've never, I've basically just upgraded everything, fully maxed the way through.
They can't kill you if they can't move.
I had no issues. I had 2 run-ins with the Butcher, I believe. I know one was like level 19, I think the other one was level 26. Because you get to a point, you do some side quests, you get the experience from it, and you're like, or I really need to do like a dungeon or a stronghold, which are much, much harder. Essentially went through that, all right, you hear the Butcher just like fresh meat chase after you, and you're like, all right, cool. I've got a teleport move to do it. I've got a stun. I basically just stunned him, teleported away, and just kept running. Just kept running to the start of the dungeon. I'm like, I'm not risking any of this shit.
No, fuck that.
But I managed to get to level 50 with Elias, which I think is like one of the tougher fights in the game later on. Probably like 3/4 of the way through the campaign. It's not the fact it's hard. It's just the fact you're just in a constant state of stress because any bad move, like the worst one of all of it is just like your Xbox has decided to update. And I was like, so that was the
controller is disconnected. You're like, no.
That was the other night, and then I just sat there for like 10 minutes as an update, and I'm gonna be like, was it like level 45, level 46? I'm gonna be dead. I'm gonna have to do like another 4 days straight to get back up to the point I was.
Oh,
and thankfully, I logged in and I was in the middle of nowhere, nothing around me, but it was fine. I had 2 server disconnects at the same time because, of course, Diablo 4 likes to have be online. But I know somebody had some issue with a 99.5 level character.
Oh.
And just got randomly disconnected, logged back in, and it's just like,
so bad.
That's the hardcore is just like, that's the antithesis of fun to me. That just sounds like a stressful experience.
It's 100% it's just I wanted a hard game though. I'm so glad being going through this because I'm like, I've got 3 achievements left, which I imagine is probably still going to take me a few weeks. The score's still like around, I think what we checked before, 14.7.
Only 2 people have finished it.
Only 2 people have finished it. It's gonna be one of those things that's just to get to level 100 is gonna take a while, unless I do the XP tricks and all that. But I kind of want to like do it legit.
Yeah.
It's been a good experience. The cutscenes are amazing. It's definitely Diablo, like watered down for a more casual audience.
Right.
And obviously there's issues with the disconnects and all that kind of stuff, but it's not going to be a game of the year contender, but it is a really good game. Okay.
It is definitely on my, I should play this at some stage. It's just kind of trying to find the,
when.
I don't know, maybe if we get a crew together, maybe, but we'll see.
I mean, it'll hit Game Pass in 12 months or something. It'll hit eventually.
It will, yeah. And it'll have more content by then anyway, so.
Yeah. I'm really interested to see what they do with it. The seasonal content, though, people aren't understanding about the new characters and that. So, and I don't know if it's just more casual players playing RPGs.
Probably. I mean, to be fair, it's been a long time since they've had a Diablo game, and it's selling very well, apparently. It's doing really, and it's reviewing well, and so, yeah.
Yeah. That's essentially all I've been playing for the week. Hopefully I'm back in the indies next week. There's a lot to play.
Yeah, there's still, I mean, the games don't stop coming out, which is...
That's it.
Not the worst problem to have. I'm just looking at how many people. 81,000 people have started Diablo 4 on PlayStation, or sorry, on Xbox alone, which is...
Is that through TA too?
That's through TA, which is, again, not everyone, but that is a big fucking chunk of the TA audience, who tend to be a little bit more picky in what they start. I'll quickly fly through what I've been working on. So I talked about Planet of Lana, so I finished that last week. There's only one, it's good, it's great. It is a limbo style game with a slightly more puzzly aspect in terms of avoiding enemies and that kind of stuff. It's slightly more stealth. It's really beautiful. There's no dialogue really. It's just it's a nice side-scrolling adventure with amazing art and really good music. Definitely recommend it. It's on Game Pass. The flawless achievement for not dying, you can do chapter by chapter. So if you die in a chapter, you just restart that chapter and you're fine. There was only one chapter I got stuck on, which was chapter 11, I think. It was the desert level where there's a tricky bit where you need to thread the needle on some floating bit. And I fucked it up a couple of times and had to redo it. But I got the achievement in the end. Didn't have too much trouble with it. So definitely recommend it. It's a 3 or 4 hour experience. So not too much of an investment. Finished up Minecraft Legends with Aftos. We were very lucky in that we got the legendary achievement, both of us. There are some bugs with it where sometimes only the host gets it. But what we did was make sure that I didn't start the game until he was in the lobby every time I played. So I saved and quit whenever he was in it, and I quit out. And so he got disconnected. And then whenever I start the game, I'd set the lobby up, invite him, and then start the actual game itself. And that seemed to work out relatively well. We're playing on the hardest difficulty. There was definitely... Him and I talked about it a bit afterwards, and we both kind of came to the same conclusion that it is a really interesting game, but it is a 6 out of 10. So it's like a 6.57. It's good, but it's a little overly simple and a little bit too janky. The building stuff is kind of not amazing, and the pathfinding and the kind of commanding of your troops is kind of not. It's not precise enough to really work in a way. It's but it also doesn't have the nice thing of an overlord where you just control it with a stick and a swarm just goes. You still have to point at things and say, go attack this. And then if you want them to attack something else, you have to ride up to them, collect them, and then tell them to point at something else. And it's clunky in a way that's kind of not amazing. It doesn't feel super great to play.
Do you think what's the right word? Obviously, you're playing a controller. Do you think it would have been a better experience playing on keyboard and mouse?
It's the same. Unfortunately, it's the same problem. I think actually working on a controller is probably better because the thing is, it doesn't have a select units, a big, draw a box or anything. It is not literally you go to the enemies and you basically, you kind of point them at stuff, but they collect in a circle around you. So it's more about controlling yourself as much as possible. Yeah. I mean, we were playing on Legendary, which is probably not the super greatest way to play it. because the enemy's just like really tanky, unfortunately. But the game is not overly difficult. And in co-op, it's much, much easier because you have someone collecting items, you can have someone getting troops, you can have someone doing the attack, and yeah, like it's relatively straightforward. And we had like a good time with it, but not a great time. Grim Fandango Remastered, I did. So I talked a little bit about that. Ron Gilbert did not work on that game, unfortunately. It was a Tim Schafer only one. But fantastic game. It's part of the collection of stuff that they released with like Monkey Island and Full Throttle and Day of the Tentacle. And so this was the last one I had.
You mean Tim Schafer isn't the guy that didn't prevent the development of Podracer 1, yeah?
Yes, that's yes, of that one. There is an achievement at the end of the game for playing the entire game in the original tank controls that the game has, which is fucking annoying as hell. Because it means that like you have to like, it doesn't go by the camera, it goes by wherever you're pointing. And so like on an analog stick, it doesn't work super great. But when you get the achievement at the end of it, it says Tim insisted having this achievement in this. So I know who to blame for it at least. But I love the story in this game. It is like essentially you are an undead salesman who is basically people who come in from the afterlife. You're trying to sell them on travel packages to get to the ninth heaven or the ninth, basically the end of the afterlife. And if they were bad in life, they have to walk. Otherwise, they can take like I think it's like they can get on a boat, or they can take a train if they were really, really good. It gets them there in like 9 seconds, or it takes them 4 years. So the game takes place over 4 years where you go to different locations and meet people and like build relationships. And it's very funny. It's very like film noir, but also like taking the piss a lot. It's great. And again, I'm preaching probably to the choir of everyone who's played this game already, but definitely recommend it. It's on Game Pass, of course, like pretty much everything Double Fine's ever done.
All we'll ever do.
Yes, exactly. Crackdown 3 Wrecking Zone is now working again. So I fired that up today. So I got like half the achievements done already, and so just need to get the rest of the group of 6 together to try and do some more of it. You can double box it really easily because it's on Game Pass and it's on PC as well. So we'll try and organize that just to get that done because it's relatively straightforward. It's just nice that it's finally back.
I'm surprised you didn't get it done when we got done the campaign.
No, well, I got told about it after all the boosting session had finished. So unfortunately, I just missed out on it, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Ni no Kuni 2 is been my project game. I'm on the home stretch. So I've talked about this a few times, and I did kind of say, I was like, oh, I kind of feel like I'm going to hit the wall at some stage. I didn't just hit the wall. I just fucking ran straight into it. Once the game is finished, there is a little bit of a grind. It's like trying to collect people. And I really enjoyed the grind of the base game, but I realized that looking at the achievement guides, the DLC is included in the base game here. So all the estimates for like the regular game was like, it's an 80-hour game. I was like, it's an 80-hour for the base. But for the Xbox, there's another like 20 hours on top of that for the DLC. Because the DLC raises the level cap from 99 to 150 and adds in a bunch of it adds like a 100-floor dungeon. It adds in a couple of super bosses, and then also adds in a 30 wave or like a 30 level arena mode, which is really, really difficult. So I've been crushing through the DLC. I'm now basically all I have left to do is S rank the last like 10 levels of the arena, which you need to be like maxed out for, have some really good gear and have some really good strats for. So I'm at like 85 hours. I definitely will get through the rest of it at some stage, whether it's before I go away or not, I'm not sure. But it is a really quality game. But it's the kind of thing where this kind of stuff is not super fun. I'm kind of over it. Yeah. Which is unfortunate. And then there was one other thing I started was Veil, Shadow of the Crown, which is Games with Gold at the moment, which is the audio only game, which is really interesting. Okay. So so you start the game, and the game you play a blind person in this game. You play a princess whose father has died and brother is ascended to the throne, and she kind of gets like exiled out. She gets shipped off to like some border city where she's going to live, and she gets ambushed on the road, and you kind of have to try and find your way back to your castle while being blind. And so everything through the game is audio. Unfortunately, my hearing apparently is not good enough to do very well at this game. But also, wearing headphones would probably help a lot because they use a lot of directional audio where it's like, okay, you find an enemy will attack you. You have a sword and a shield. You need to listen for what side they're on. And if they're on the left, you need to put the shield up, like listen for them to attack, put the shield up. And as soon as they hit the shield, then you want to counterattack and that kind of stuff. And so there's that. There's also like trying to find things in an environment by listening. Like I'm doing like a side quest where I need to find honey. So I'm listening for bees and trying to find them. But also trying to quickly get through it without being stung to death. And so I'm struggling with it a little bit. It's a really cool concept. I feel like it's not quite polished enough to be like really, really good, but it's such an interesting kind of concept of something I've never played before.
There was, there was another game not too long ago that was also audio only. That was a really interesting concept. And I played 15 minutes of it. I'm like, this is really cool, but I cannot hear for the life of me. Like,
I think it's the kind of thing where it's like you need to have a good pair of headphones for this to really work. And so I was trying to play a bit of it last night and I made some progress, but I was getting quite frustrated. And like whether that's because it's like it's a technical thing and it just isn't quite as optimized as it should be, or whether it's actually like literally my hearing not being as good as, which is quite possible actually. But yeah, so I'm definitely going to play more of that. But so
it's cool that these kind of games exist, though, especially for accessibility.
Yeah, definitely. And I think this is like a great games with gold thing because it's like the kind of thing that no one would fucking buy normally.
Yeah,
and you could make crazy challenges like wear your headset backwards and you'd be like lefty, righty, back to front.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Like see
somebody's
the speed
been
run
in
of
my
it.
Twitch chat too much.
And then just one other quick mention: Disc Room, which is on Game Pass at the moment. Really, really easy. It's like a completely inflated ratio game. It has accessibility sliders where you can slow down the game. You can slow down the speed of the enemies. You can make the game easier. It's really, really simple. It's a bit buggy. I did one playthrough. It took me like 2 hours and 45 minutes, and then I had to do like a quick 1 hour cleanup.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't there some achievements that you need to have the accessibility as normal?
No, not really.
Okay.
You can do most of the whole thing. What I would say is you drop the don't touch the goal. There's like a goal slider that makes the game harder or easier. Don't touch that because that can lead to some problems. Okay. But you can drop the speed of the hazards and speed of the discs down to like 10% and just breeze through 90% of the game.
Cool.
But yeah, I did have to replay a bit of it to get killed by every type of disc. It didn't unlock for me for some reason. But
I think that's the one I was.
Yeah, it just took like another hour or so. It was really simple. So I definitely recommend doing that. The ratio will tank now that I've said that, but fuck it. Do it. It's nice and easy. And the only reason I did it was because like a bunch of people on AHA were like, oh, this is real simple. I was like, oh shit. Okay, cool. I'll do it.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's a shitload for me because it's been a busy 2 weeks. But that's it for me. Kia, what about you?
Well, I've been sick this week, so I've not really done a whole lot. I've been working on Solitaire. As you know, every good achievement hunter has started that game in one form or another at some point. So I'm doing the slog through the 30 days, getting all the challenges done because I could never log in every day and play. So I'm unfortunately going to miss the come back each day of a month and play a daily challenge one because I can never remember to log in. But I should be able to get all the challenges done for the 30 days at least.
Time travel, change your internal clock.
I know. Yeah. All the tricks of the trade coming out of that one. So yeah, you can use pretty much all of them to get this game done. So, but yeah, other than that, I started and was working on 100% playthrough for Watch Dogs 2. So, because that was one of my big 3 game resolutions for the year to get that one of the games I wanted to get done this year. Couple of things that have come up with that, unfortunately. I'm like, oh yeah, cool. I'll have this game done before Final Fantasy 16 comes out. I get to the end of the game, and three achievements have not unlocked for me. One is got the shutter bug, which is take 25 Scout X location pictures. So that's the good indicator whether or not a run's going to be okay or not. Because I started the game again, and just to get to that point where you get past the first mission, you can just run around and just collect all the photos, and it didn't unlock the second time. So I'm like, right. Delete my game, delete it from the cloud, clean slate, start again. So and then I started again and got to the point where yeah, and then it actually unlocked that time. So I'm like, right, cool. Well, I'm gonna do a full run through the game because a DLC achievement didn't unlock, and the end game achievement didn't unlock. So right,
Oh,
I'll just do a solid playthrough. I'll just keep going until I won't shut the game down. I'll just go and do it. As soon as I get the Scout X achievement, game crashes. I'm like, right,
oh my
okay, cool.
gosh.
So it's going to be this, is it? So I have to get the Hack of the World, trigger the Hack of the Century achievement, which is basically the one for finishing the final mission in the game,
Hmm.
and then one of the human conditions, the automata one with the car, didn't unlock when I tried it either, and I have to progress a little bit to get to the point to unlock that too. So, but all of that's gonna be put on hold, I think, until I do Final Fantasy, I think.
Outside
So,
of that, what did you think of the game?
of Watch Dogs,
Yeah.
a lot more accessible than the first game, that's for
Mm.
sure. Very, very straightforward. It seems like it was toned down a little bit,
Yeah.
and everything controlled better. So you didn't have to collect anywhere near as many. You didn't have to 100% it. You just had to go and just do one of each type of event and stuff like that. And you had to do one race
Didn't have to
and
do the
then
bloody song
you know,
sync achievement.
the only problem, but just out of habit, I was collecting all the song sneak things anyway.
Yeah.
Um, as they kind of popped up. The only place that I think I ran into trouble was you needed the 4 people to do the DLC achievement, Showdown, which is basically the
Oh,
multiplayer.
yeah.
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 And I more than once got to 3 because the game's actually still really active.
Yeah.
So there's heaps of people still playing it. Multiplayer is very easy to get matches. So I would get to 3 wins in a row, and then it would there's 2 things that can break it. You can either lose a match, or if it changes host, it also
Oh,
breaks
yes.
as
Yeah.
well. So obviously you need to get to 4, like the maximum streak bonus, which is 4. So eventually I'm like, fuck it, I'll just do the little trick that's on TA, which is, you know, quit a match and then look, you don't quit the match, you just hard turn off the game. You just Xbox
Hmm.
button, shut the game down, and
Yeah.
then load back up and you don't lose your streak. So after getting the shits of, more than once getting 3 streaks, trying to do it legit, just because, I just try to do the multiplayer stuff if it's active, legit, and then decided to just do it the easy way. So
Fair.
but yeah. So other than that, yeah, the games I like the story. It has a lot of modern jokes, and I appreciated the alien jokes that are in there. 3 or 4 times they actually come up with aliens and predator references. Because since
Hmm.
I've been sick, while I was playing through the story, I actually loaded up and watched every single Alien movie because I just had a free TV, and I'm just like, right, once a year I normally sit down and do the aliens. It's like the first thing I do at the start of the year. It's like
Hmm.
load up all the alien movies and just watch them. But I haven't done that in a year or so.
What's
So
the
I'm like,
best one?
right. Um, well, I actually still really like the first one.
Yeah, me too. The original
Just
Alien is where it's at.
yeah, and the Disney Plus version of Alien 3 had the good ending, which wasn't the crappy Ridley fades into the lava, I don't know if that's the director's cut or
That's
not,
the only
but this
version
is
I've
the
seen. Oh, interesting. Okay.
oh really? Oh
Yeah,
really?
it's the one where she lets go and yeah.
Yeah, and you just see the cut where it kind of just she fades, it kind of in and out, she just disappears.
Right.
The other one is her falling into the molten
Yes. Yes.
but she's holding the alien
Yeah.
because it comes out of her
Out of
chest,
her
and
chest and
she's
she
she's
drags it. Yeah.
holding it, yeah, so that it doesn't escape into the molten pit. So that's yeah, because I mean it ends the same way, but one of the versions it's basically cut, so it's just her with her arms spread wide. She's
Hmm.
falling back, and it's just like uh it's like they took frames away where they just repeated that over and
Right.
over
Right.
again, but where she's further at a distance, but holding the alien. That's the best ending.
Alien 3
So
is an interesting one. It is
mm,
not a great film,
mm, mm.
but it is very interesting.
And I do have like a soft spot for Alien Resurrection.
Oh,
It's
kill
it's
me.
there's so much stuff in that. There's so much content.
Yeah.
It's content rich. Like everything about her being a clone and all this kind of stuff is just, and then her having to kill other versions of herself. And the queen was
Mhm.
born from her, but got the reproductive system of a human from her as the gift.
Mhm.
And then it looks more human. So it's like a reverse cycle alien. So where it's kind of going the opposite way. So but yeah, and but I don't know. There's just something about it that's actually I really, really like. So but yeah, and it's not a it's not it's yeah, I just like it. But it's not the best one. First
No, it's
one
definitely
in my
not, but
heart is
it is really cool.
definitely
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
with you.
yeah. Mm.
Sorry, Cameron doesn't watch movies, so
I've got no idea.
that's right. They're making an Aliens game that's coming out soon that looks really good.
It's already out. It came out this week.
Oh, did it really? Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
What?
yeah, yeah. The top down one
Dark
that's
Descent?
kind of
Okay.
yeah. Yep. So that actually came out, and I'm be interested in playing that as well because it just uh has some elements that are kind of similar to Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Okay.
kind of you've got the fear and you don't know if the aliens are coming for you or not. And in Darkest Dungeon, it was all about the stress and whether or not the person could, maintain that. So, but yeah, so that looks interesting too. So, and it's just a top-down shooter. So, mm, mm. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll keep working on my run to finish Watch Dogs. Um, and yeah, just play Final Fantasy for the next 2 weeks. So probably. So mm,
Sounds good.
mm.
All right.
We'll smash through the rest.
Yeah. So leaderboard. Um, so we got in third place we got Thrash Forever with 6,120,
Yes.
Coco Fatale with 6,195, and Mad Eye Pad Eye with 13,085. I just like to say that I was fourth this week, which has been the highest I've been for a long time. Do you want to go through completions?
Yeah, let's smash through them. So Dish had Dead by Daylight Windows fastest in world.
Yeah, so he was the fastest in the completion time in the world, apparently, for Dead by Daylight on Windows,
Yeah,
which is very
congrats.
impressive.
Yeah.
I'm guessing he's already done the Xbox version.
Yes, he's done the stack, which is also insane because that is a huge game.
Yeah. Moonzom did Road 96 and Dong. I'm not sure how you pronounce it.
Doggin? I'm not actually sure either.
I need to play that. It looks really nice. Nuvis, Rove 96, Mark B, Forza 5, Perk, Timefall 2, Divine Fear did Lego Incredibles, Natalator did Tell Me Why, which I'm pretty sure is still free for the rest of the month.
It is, yep.
Yep. Bob saw Adios. Mikhail KV did The Suicide of Rachel Foster, and Crucible 101 did Borderlands pre-sequel.
And he fucking hated it, apparently.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, and then we've got the word challenge, everyone's favorite competition that they've stopped guessing because they've made it too difficult. Unfortunately, because we didn't have a show this week, last week, I didn't put another clue in, so I've made this clue very, very easy. So if you don't know what it is, on our discord.io/HallofGamers, you can come and guess. We have a channel called the Word Challenge where you can go and guess a game, and if you get the game right, a gift pops up, and you win $20 New Zealand. And I send it to you, or I reinvest it, or I do whatever you want with it. So each week I give a clue. The first clue was that this game has no walkthrough on TA. The second clue is that it's available physically and digitally, which means it's probably, had a disc release, which limits the number. Yeah. And this week's clue is it is part of a genre that Neomaster is bad at and has said that he is bad at.
That doesn't narrow it down whatsoever.
Okay, how dare you?
Wait, you're good at games since when?
Yeah, okay, I'm bad at a lot of games. Okay, that is very true. But there are particular genres that I have complained about on this show many times that will probably give you a point in the right direction as to what kind of game this might be.
Let's go through them. Racing, tactics.
If that's not a prop to go back and listen to the back catalog, then
yeah, exactly right. Rhythm games.
Basically any genre but a JRPG.
Pretty much, yeah. So it's definitely not JRPGs. and it's not visual novels either. But the game doesn't have a walkthrough on TA. The game doesn't have a walkthrough on TA, so I probably really struggled with this game. But yes, so go check that out. Put your guesses in the chat. I've updated the bot, so it'll update the question as well. But yeah, good luck to everyone.
Yeah.
And then we've also got our Patreon, patreon.com/rollergamers if you want to help support the show. A big thank you to Lee Howard, Mikhail KV, Nitholinator, Mad Lefty, Admiral Awesome, Happy Moogles, Kung Fu Skills, Hack and Pone, Cavaliers 07, Old Mate Clown, Mark B, and McLovin Legend. Thank you so much, guys. I do put out some outtakes for the show from the beginning and end of it each week. If you guys are interested in that, I know Lee was talking about how much he enjoyed it, and we'll look to do some more content on that front as well. We're thinking about maybe bringing back Lights, Camera, and Action. We've heard some people want to hear our movie reviews.
You're gonna make me watch Aliens.
Yeah. Oh well, fuck. We might watch Aliens. Yes.
No.
Watch Alien.
Well, the gaming adjacent movies.
Yeah, we're going to abandon the video game thing. We're just going to watch some cool fucking movies. But yeah, huge thank you to our patrons. Like I said, we wouldn't be able to do the show without you. That money goes into paying for things like Zoom and for hosting for the podcast and for equipment and other bits and pieces and for the contests. So thank you so much. And as always, you can come join the conversation at discord.io/HallOfGamers, the best place to find us. And we should do the show live on Twitch each week, Xbox Hall of Gamers. If for some reason you've missed us posting in the Discord, come say hi.
Well, I didn't post in Discord before for whatever reason.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's up with that. Maybe the bot's broken.
Possibly.
All right, well, that's going to wrap up the show. Let's do some shilling. Cameron, what about you? Where can people find you?
_ Twitch, Shadowless Edge, Twitter. I don't know. I feel like I've been very busy lately. Next 2 months are going to be very busy. I got a game launch next month, I got Gamescom the month after. I got a game launch and then I got free game announcements. So I'm going to be fucking flat
out. Kia, what about you?
Yep, you can follow me on Twitch at Kia Live at Home and Twitter Kia Live at Home. You can watch me do some streaming. At the moment I'm just doing PlayStation stuff, but if you want to check out some of that, you can check it out. Final Fantasy.
Let him know if his audio is turned on.
Oh, dude! If you're a patron and you catch the stuff at the start of the episode, you'll hear me talking about not having my audio turned on and doing not 1, not 2, but 3 streams without it. 2 were in a VR headset, so I had no idea. All I saw was the audio going, and I didn't know that it wasn't connected.
The Snoop Dogg was streaming for a month, and he had his mic muted the entire time, and just
nice. Yeah, that's me. And you can catch those VODs, all of the silent movie VODs and everything else at HTFG Play on YouTube. That's it.
And actually, speaking of VODs, I will also shout out that we do also upload the show to YouTube if you want to check out some of the old versions of it, because they don't stay on Twitch forever. I don't have the pithy URL that we use, but if you look for Xbox Hall of Gamers on YouTube, you will find us nice and easy. So you can watch this in video form and catch up on all the old episodes.
Yeah.
and
Do a
of course,
session and just watch 10 episodes. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, it's great. It's great background noise. That's what podcasts are for. And as always, I'm Neomaster on everything in True Achievements, Xbox, and Discord. And that's going to be the end of episode 83. We'll catch you guys next week, I suppose. See you later.
Goodbye.